Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. If you're watching along with us on CST or on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN is the page. You want to go subscribe, you should have done that already. But if you haven't, you can do so now. Take a look at past interviews on the Hangin page. So we are glad that you're with us on a Friday. It's sort of a couple weeks ago we did COVID-free Friday, and it was just glorious. We can't do that today. There's just too much COVID news, although some of it is positive.
Right.
But there's just too much stuff going on that relates to that. So what we did was we were sent some Hawaiian lays by
Mark Cumby.
Mark Cumby, thank you.
Loyal listener.
And we decided to put them up here on the set. So if you're watching along with us, you can see we've got what I would call a traditional lays, which is like pink and orange and green flowers. But he sent us some purple and gold ones.
Go Tigers.
Yeah. And so my hope is that soon, one day, that we're going to have another COVID-free Friday, and we're going to wear them. Okay, but until then, they're just going to be set decoration for the time being. I want it to be a celebration when we put them on,
Yeah.
and we do just.
Yeah, if you bust out the Hawaiian shirt and the hat along with the lays, it's got to be a true COVID-free Friday. This is just kind of, hey, we're going to have some positive news, so we just put the lays on the table.
How do you feel about September 25th?
How do I feel about
the show that day? We bust all of that out.
September 25th, actually talking X's and O's, and the word COVID might not come out of my mouth. I feel good about it.
The day before LSU opens the season. How about that day?
I'm ready for that.
Something we can look forward to?
Absolutely.
Okay, so all we gotta do is get there.
Yeah.
We just gotta get there without.
Give me to the finish line.
Yeah, the world exploding between now and September 25th. That's when we're gonna put these on. That's when we're gonna dress. That's gonna be it's gonna be a good day. Just got to get there. Just got to get there. All right, so we'll call it a countdown. Can we get a countdown, Cade?
Almost 2 months.
Maybe a daily. We'll just put it a countdown to football season because we know when football season is supposed to start now for LSU. Today's show, we'll just give you a rundown here. Later in the hour, at the bottom of the hour, Herb Vincent from the SEC office. I think everybody knows Herb, associate commissioner.
Yep.
Let me get that right. Is going to be with us at the bottom of the hour about the announcement yesterday. The conference is going to conference-only schedule starting on September the 26th. In the 1 o'clock hour at 1:30, Verge Ausberry, associate AD over at LSU, is going to be with us, and we'll get LSU's side of this. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, Chris Lowe from ESPN. So we'll give you the league's take on it. We'll give you LSU's take on it. We'll give you sort of the national take on it. We'll do all three aspects of the announcement yesterday that came down. Pelicans started their season last night, lose a game. They had a shot in the air at the horn. It goes down. They win. They miss. They lose. In and out. And so Andrew Lopez, who covers the Pelicans, will be with us at 2:30 today. Flynn?
I think there's a chance at some point in these 3 hours.
So you're saying there's a chance.
He's going to come through that. Hey, what's all that 1 in a million talk?
All right.
But he has made it sound like he is going to, at some point, grace us with his presence.
Maybe.
So,
take a shot. Yesterday, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, emerged from that long meeting with the news that the SEC will play 10 conference games starting on September the 26th, that the SEC championship game will be moved back 2 weeks. He was on with Paul Feinbaum yesterday and explained why that decision.
First of all, people have been clamoring for us to increase the number of conference games, so I thought perhaps there'd be great celebration at that reality, right?
There will be.
But it is a recognition that we are in a very different environment, and the importance of a Southeastern Conference championship is primary. for us and for my thinking. And a lot of discussion about whether that was the right direction. Ultimately, we've announced that decision. We have great respect for the rivalries that exist across the conference, but we don't know what the fall is going to look like. And having the ability to manage our own schedule, we believe, gives us the best opportunity to play for that championship, to have our division winners, which is our tradition, and then to have a conference championship game a few weeks later than originally planned.
They don't have to run this by anybody else. If there have to be, I wasn't in that meeting, but I have to imagine that when it came up, are you going to play a +1 non-conference game, that the potential of rescheduling league games running into those roadblocks was the biggest impediment. I think that testing was an issue where your games against the non-Power 5 teams were concerned was an issue. The ability to control testing, the ability to finance testing, I think that was probably an issue with the Texas San Antonios of the world. But when it came down to Clemson and Louisville, and if you wanted you throw LSU's game with Texas in there, it wasn't that. It was, hey, if we get to a point where we've had to put off 2 Southeastern Conference games and we want to play that in a week where you're scheduled to play Florida State and the University of Florida is put in an impossible situation in November where they've got to decide whether they want to play Florida State or they want to play Georgia. The league doesn't want to be in that position. And that, I think, is ultimately what it came down to. The ACC sort of left the door open for that. The SEC says we've got to crown a champion. Yep. We've got 14 weeks to play 12, and we can't put South Carolina and Clemson ahead of South Carolina and Georgia. We can't put Florida and Florida State ahead of Florida and Georgia or Florida and Tennessee. Those games have to be played. I think that's what ultimately the non-conference games going away against the Power Fives.
Right.
You know, the other ones are financially induced. I get that. Yeah. But against those teams at +1, I think that's where it ended.
And also when you look at it, and we gave examples yesterday, it's just so much easier, like you're talking about, to move a game within conference as well. There's not as many moving parts because it's your decision. You don't have to get with somebody else and come up with a plan or strike a deal. We've seen just take LSU, Monday night game against Tennessee because of a hurricane. The South Carolina game gets moved here because of flooding, and of course the Florida LSU game from 17, like we all know the story there. So within conference, it's just much easier, Hanny, because you don't have to ask anybody else. It's your decision. It is you with the schools within your conference, and so that plays a part in it. And I wonder how much. Now it could be very small, but I wonder how much ACC saying you got to play in our home state or in our home stadium, like, right? So you have to be from our state or you have to play us at our place. I wonder if the SEC is like, we're not doing that. We're not going to give you a home game. You're not going to have that advantage because when you look at it, a lot of those ACC, SEC games were in those places already. But if you added more, right? We always talked about what if LSU played Virginia Tech or something, right? And so maybe the SEC didn't want to go along with that as well.
So then, if you're going to play 10 conference games, who are you going to play?
Man, here we go.
You've got 8 games scheduled. There is a report out just as we're starting the show today that Alabama will play Kentucky and Vanderbilt, and LSU will play the Chiefs and the Ravens. I'm kidding.
I didn't know which 2 teams you're going to pick.
Yeah, well, those were the 2 favorites over in the AFC. The how to determine those other 2 games is going to, I would say, generate some discussion. This was Greg Sankey on that topic.
Yeah, we've been running any number of models, if you will, in thinking about how that decision can be made. Our athletics directors early in the week suggested let's make the first decision so we can then make the second decision. And that second decision is exactly what the format will look like. I know our colleagues in the ACC were able to put out the matchups quickly, and obviously some different dynamics there. Our 2 other colleague conferences that made announcements earlier in July took a bit of time to make their announcement. In fact, we're still waiting. So we just want to make sure that we walk through what is a really difficult decision on altering the season, and then we'll work towards finalizing exactly that format and be ready to go, I think, in short order with that information. It gives great conversation on afternoon shows, too, for a while, does it not?
Well, thanks.
Hey,
we appreciate the
it,
assist. You know, there was a time we were talking about bowling on this show. There's no way this is going to be fair, so let's just start there. There's no way it can be fair. Somebody's got to play Georgia, and somebody's got to play Florida, and somebody's going to get to play Vanderbilt, and somebody's going to get to play Missouri.
And Arkansas.
Right.
Can't forget about the Hogs.
Yes, exactly.
They're awful.
I was just thinking from the SEC West side. But yes, if you're in the East, somebody's got to play Alabama, somebody's got to play LSU, and somebody gets to play Arkansas. So there's no – before we even see what this is not going to be fair. It's just a matter of who's going to get screwed.
Yeah. Who's going to get screwed and who's going to be that team that everybody talks about?
For once, it's not even the league's fault, okay? By definition, somebody's going to get screwed. Now, the paranoia is real, okay? The idea that LSU's going to get screwed and Alabama's going to get the easiest possible schedule that's already out there. Ross Dellinger had put together a schedule that included adding the next 2 SEC rotators onto the schedule. Seemed easy enough, but you look at that thing and you look at what Florida drew. They drew Alabama and A&M, and you looked at Alabama's schedule, and it's like they drew Florida. Now, they also drew Vanderbilt under that scenario, and they were going to have to play Florida and Georgia in the same year. And you could see that was going to be a no-go from those two schools. And those 2 schools, Alabama especially, hold a lot of markers. Now, was that the only thinking that went into it? No. I can't imagine that was the only thing. Never mind that LSU's played Georgia and Florida in the same year a number of times. But I digress. Somebody is going to be unhappy no matter what they do. So let's just see what happens.
There's no question about it. And of course, I always take the former player, meathead, I don't care who we play, give me anybody. And I don't know, not a lot of people share that mentality. I get that. But, it is at a point where, you just have to figure out who you're playing, when you're playing them, and move forward as a team. But I'm very curious now on the other side of this deal how they come up with it, because you're right. I mean, there's no fair way to do this. I mean, can they go back to the last 2 opponents you play? Well, that puts LSU playing Georgia. Do you move forward with the next 2? That puts Florida in a real hairy situation. Do you do it like the World Cup? Do you get some ping pong balls out, and do you decide?
No, too easy to manipulate ping pong balls. You freeze the ones you want. He reaches in, picks the cold ping pong ball. No,
exactly, right? So there's so many different scenarios. We don't know how it's going to take place. And I know Herb Vincent already put it out there on Twitter. No, we do not have a schedule in place. We just figured out what format that we want to play. So that decision will not come this weekend. But there's going to be so many eyeballs on that, because you're talking about a big difference. I mean, you're talking about a potential 8-2 season and a 10-0 season for some of these teams. And so, the former player in me says, who cares? But I understand that it is a real worry for a lot of fan bases right now.
Took us less than 15 minutes to go from just give us football, we don't care, we'll play anybody, we'll play on the moon, to wait a minute, we don't want to play Florida.
You know what, though? Being an LSU Tiger, I'm glad. Kay, can you get that Coach O pulled up? I'm glad that the head coach for Louisiana State University has this mentality. He has a mentality of whoever we've got, whoever it is, we don't care. And it's not lip service, Hanny. So many coaches get up there and it's just lip service. And we heard last year during the college football playoff, when everything was kind of coming up, coaches saying, I hope we get here, or we deserve to be here. And this is what the coach of LSU says.
We know that. We don't know where we're going to go. We don't know who we're going to play. Wherever they tell us to go and whoever they tell us to play, we'll be ready to go. It doesn't matter. It don't matter where they rank us, where they tell us to go. We got to win the next game, and that's all that matters.
I'm fine with him saying that publicly. I'm even fine with him saying that to his team.
Yeah.
He shouldn't believe that. He shouldn't believe that in the standpoint of you got to go fight for you got to go fight for what's equitable. It's probably Scott Woodward's job more than it is Ed Orgeron's job. Ed Orgeron's job is to get his team ready, and he should be telling his team that. And I'm fine with him believing that to them, and I'm fine with him saying that publicly. Behind the scenes, you got to play the game. You can't just let the league run all over you, or you will end up getting the short end of the stick. I've seen it happen so many times, okay? You can't just let the league say, you can't trust that they will do everything fair and equitably, because they won't.
I agree with you. I understand everything you're saying. I honestly do. But if you don't have this mentality from your head coach, it's going to trickle down to every single player. Because I know for me last year, and I'm not trying to throw a trump card, I'm just saying as a former player, I listened to Dabo Swinney, Ryan Day, and Lincoln Riley. And as a former player, I didn't want to hear that. I don't want to hear we're trying to get to this seed so we can avoid this team and then get this team. No, I want my coach saying, I don't give a damn who we're playing. I don't care where. I don't care who, because eventually we're going to have to play a team that's really good anyways. And so you have to have that. Even if the other factors, and you're right, maybe Scott and Verge can worry about those factors.
That's their job.
That's their job. But as a head coach, if you even fake this, the light's going to shine through on you faking that. And as a player, you're going to see that. The assistant coaches are going to see that. And so I love it. I love that that's who we have as our head coach at LSU. And, is that the whole battle? No, but it's a mentality that I think is needed right now in these certain circumstances.
In front of your team, that is absolutely the right message. In a closed office with your athletic director, you better be saying something different. You need to be saying something different. You got to stand up for yourself. LSU went too many years not standing up for themselves in these conference scheduling battles, and they got blistered every time. Florida did the same thing, and it's just now dawning on them, wait a minute, this isn't fair. This isn't right. This isn't equitable. This isn't a rotation. We're not getting screwed a year. We're getting screwed every year. Still hasn't dawned on Auburn that playing Georgia every year is not in their best interest. They still haven't gotten that through their heads. So your athletic director has to go stand up for you. And for years, LSU was a man without a country. Didn't have any support. Bottom of the league, was content playing the bottom of the league. Alabama and Tennessee were content playing. Georgia and Auburn were content playing. Florida didn't care. LSU was like, all right, well, we're the one that's still standing in this game of musical chairs, but things have changed. You've got other teams in the league that believe this, and I don't know what this means past this year. Probably nothing. But you got to go in there, because you can make damn sure that when Alabama saw that proposal come out, that Nick Saban was on the phone. I mean, I'm not even speculating. Yeah. I'm saying this happens. And LSU's got to go stand up for themselves and say, look, you guys just piled Georgia on this schedule on top of us, and we're going to have a problem with that. There needs to be some kind of equity here. And I realize that they're in a bad situation. I realize that somebody's going to get screwed, but damn it, does it always have to be us? Does it always have to be? And this, I can't wait to ask Herb what the strength of schedule thing is, because strength of what schedule? Strength of last year's schedule? Strength of the last two? Strength on, you're predicting what's going to come up. I find it very hard to pick on strength of schedule without knowing what strength of schedule means. So I'm anxious to ask him that question. And I know they're in a bad spot. Yeah. And I know somebody's going to get screwed. But you got to stand up for yourself. Ed Orgeron's message to his team needs to be exactly that. His message to his athletic director needs to be drastically different. And I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that Scott Woodward knows the score. If Joe Oliva were in charge of this, I'd be scared to death. But I'm confident that Scott Woodward will go to bat for LSU and will make sure that, look, like I said, it ain't going to be fair. It can't be. By definition, it can't be. But just get in there and make sure your voice is heard, and I'm sure they will. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Gotro's Outdoor Power, got all of those property maintenance issues for you this summer. Well, let them make it a little bit easier for you. You get the right equipment, man, these jobs happen a whole lot easier. And from our friends over at SCAG, they want to honor our first responders, our fire, our police, our medical people, giving you 15% off of MSRP. When you get a SCAG unit, you're going to get free delivery. You're going to get a 5-year warranty. That means 5 years of worry-free mowing. So Gotro's Outdoor Power can help you out with all of your needs, and 2 locations to serve you.
In Gonzales, Airline at 74, in Baton Rouge, Airline at Industriaplex. Check out the website, GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. We were over at the facility there in Gonzales, and we saw a mower for every lifestyle, residential, commercial, no matter what you need. They're going to have something that fits your lifestyle over at GoTros. Go check it out. You can always Again, go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com right now. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
1045 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy,
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Coming up on Monday's Off the Bench, you recap a weekend full of sports. Did the Pelicans manage to bounce back? What's the latest from LSU football school? And how will they handle this extended preseason? Plus, we give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 1045 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Herb Vincent at the bottom of the hour. Today is July the 31st. 31 days in August, 25 days in September before LSU plays a game. Jacob, that's a lot of camp.
It's a long camp.
That's even longer than an NFL camp.
That's longer than the old school NFL camp when we had true two-a-days.
So give me from a players and coaches perspective, man. We know how people get into dog days at camp, even in a 4-week camp. Man, you get to about week 3, and it's like, man, can we play a game?
Right.
So how do you manage getting your team ready? There was no spring. Getting your team ready, getting all the work you got to get done in, staying healthy, and keeping a mental focus, a mental positive attitude through 56 days of camp.
Very, very difficult. And you have to come up with a schedule for all those reasons that you just listed so you don't burn out. And you did miss a lot of time. You did miss spring. You did miss kind of the football school that they're allowed to have and all those type of things, right? And so you try not to jam pack everything in those 56 days. And again, I know it's going to sound like I'm pumping sunshine because I am for Coach O, because what he's done, I mean, he deserves this praise. Last year during the college football playoff, Oklahoma had 7 more practices than LSU. 7 before they played. Which team looked fresher?
LSU.
Right.
Yeah.
Clemson had 4 more practices than LSU. So Coach O, and he said this publicly plenty of times, but he has taken the Pete Carroll model and he has followed it. And if Flynn shows up today, which we'll see, Flynn played for Pete Carroll, and I'd love to get his take on this, but he knows when to rest his guys. He knows when to push them like hell as well. So it's not like it's being soft, but he knows when they need to take back. And I'll be completely honest. The 2 coaches I played for in college, they love to practice. They love to practice. I mean, we're out there 3.5 hours some of the times, right? Those 20-hour a week sheets that we used to sign.
Air quotes.
Yeah. Ooh. So he does a great job of that, and this is going to have to be the best job that he's ever done. And not only him, obviously every coach in the country, because you're talking about a very long time to keep everybody engaged. And look, Hanny, they're not going to go 56 straight days. They're going to get,
of course not,
they're going to get more than a day break in between there too. There might be, one time a Coach O says, hey, 3 days, if you're in the building, you can be on the building by yourself watching film or something, but you don't have to be. Something like that's going to happen. You feel really good about having a veteran strength coach in Tommy Moffitt as well, right? Hey, if you had a 27-year-old strength coach right now who is gung-ho about, getting swole because we missed our summer workouts, that could also get you into trouble. And so, it might sound like a little sunshine pumping, but you're set up because the proof is in the pudding. Last year, you had a long season, and your coach did a better job than Lincoln Riley, than Dabo Swinney of having his team fresh and ready.
One of the benefits of having a coach with as much experience as Orgeron is that you can look back on past experiences. And when I say past experiences, I mean he can look back all the way into the 1980s with Miami. And you can most of the time, if not all of the time, with a coach that experience, look back and say, well, this is how camp used to be. We used to have more days. We used to have 2-a-days. Right. We used to do this. When I was in the NFL, we did it like this. Somewhere in your past, you can find a comp. Mm-hmm. Not this time. There is there's no comp for this. This is a blank sheet of paper on Ed Orgeron's desk that has a calendar that starts today and goes all the way to September the 25th.
You can flip it a couple times.
Yeah,
that's
and so start to fill in the blocks with what you're going to do, and you're doing this in a unique manner. You got no comp. It's challenging. It would be challenging for any coach. I feel good that you got this coach doing it.
It's challenging.
And not to throw stones, but you just talked about Miles. Could you imagine how many times Les Miles would have run out there for a 3-hour practice in 56 days?
Right. Oh, a lot. And Coach Saban as well. And
always seems to work out for him, but yeah.
Hanny, I'll tell you a quick story. In 2004, we're practicing, and it's all cut up into periods, right? And you have 15 periods or whatever it might be. And I remember we were in period 9 during training camp. So Baton Rouge training camp, it's hotter than hot. You can see the Devils skip across the field, right? And he didn't like the way the practice was going or whatever. But then we went into a break because we had to take a break, and we went under tents, and we got oranges and bananas and ammonia water, towels put on the back of your neck or whatever. We took too long in the tent. We didn't get out of there fast enough. And he said, start this whole SOB over.
The whole practice?
And not the period,
the whole practice.
Period. The whole practice as far as warm up and stretch.
Oh.
And his stretch was gassers. Like they were across the field gassers, and then you would stretch. We had to start over from that point and then go from period 1 all the way through to 15 because we took too long in the tent getting oranges and bananas. And so that's what it used to be. And I don't know if he does it anymore, but those were the type of practices you had. That's when you get burnt out. I've been on Tiger Stadium before all this new stuff was built, and we're running 110s. And, Saban, who's not technically supposed to be there, Benny Brazil just went to the Olympics, right? He had just done the hurdles in the Olympics. Benny was making his times, but Benny wasn't winning the races by enough because he was an Olympian, and that made Saban mad. and we had to start over on 110s. We ended up running 36 110s that day inside of Tiger Stadium in the heat because Benny wasn't winning by enough. And so
that'll teach you to eat them oranges faster.
Right? So I've had some cases where you can be a little burnt out.
56 days worth of eat them oranges faster.
Oof.
Herb Vincent, Associate Commissioner, Southeastern Conference, is with us when we come back. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Methern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
sports.
Yo, join us for a Friday TGIF edition of Hangin with Hester and Hanny presented by Richard Honda. Hey, Hanny, is Flynn going to show up?
I don't know. Jimmy's laying 5-2 against.
Doesn't look good for your boy, but we're going to have a great show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you in part by Small Sliders. Slide through the drive-thru for quality, fresh, cooked to order customer service. Nicholson at East. Boy, it's going to be a real good snack as soon as we finish with the show. But for everybody else, it's lunchtime.
Our lunch hour sponsor. Glad to have Smalls back on board. And by the way, now I'm hungry and I want to shake.
All right. Well, let's send Paul. Paul's not doing anything.
Paul's not talking.
Oh, go through the drive-thru.
Shake, please.
Please. Bring in now Herb Vincent, Associate Commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. Herb, thanks for the time this afternoon. I know it's just another slow, lazy summer afternoon up at the Southeastern Conference office. There's not much going on, right?
No, not much going on. Actually, I never knew it could be so busy with no sports taking place, and everybody else I talk to in the college athletics world feels the same way. So it's crazy and just different time for everybody.
Herb, we've heard from the commissioner about why these schedules were created, and what the next move is going to be is creating the rest of the games. So the Southeastern Conference has said that they will move towards a strength of schedule format to add these two games. Explain exactly what the strength of schedule components entail.
No, I don't have any information on that. I don't have any information on the schedule right now. It's going to be discussed, and it was discussed on an AD meeting conference call. Actually, we just got off of just a few minutes ago, talking about various ways to create the schedule and what's the next steps, and we'll dive into that probably today and early next week. Mark Womack is our football scheduling guru on staff, and he'll head that up. There'll be others involved, and ultimately becomes an approval of the entire group of athletics directors, and that's what it'll eventually get to.
Herb, we see the September 26th date. How many different dates were discussed, and why September 26th? Is that to give you that cushion just in case?
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that, obviously, but we felt like it was important to let our campuses get back, the universities get back in session, and then bring football into it after the campuses have gotten back in. And we took some, guidance from our medical task force and some individuals on that group that were advising us as well, and we've tried to follow their guidance all along. So, there's never one deciding factor on anything that takes place during this whole scenario that we're going through. You just have to take into a lot of different factors, and so a lot of it played into it. But mostly we're trying to get our campuses back in session and ease back into football.
Herb, how much was it taken into consideration where different states are, a phase 2, a phase 1, where they were in their reopening of these campuses?
Sure, we had to look at where things are in general for the pandemic, where they are nationwide, where they are in our region, and all those things are looked at and part of the whole consideration, and that's why we've been active, and I think a lot of our schools have been active in encouraging people to wear face masks, social distance, exercise, washing your hands, all those things that the CDC advises, so that we can get our numbers under control for everybody, not just for sports, but just for everybody, so that we can get back to some sense of normalcy one day.
Herb, right before you came on, we were talking about practice schedule, having 56 days between now and the first game. And obviously there's rules put into place to protect the student athletes. Have y'all talked about maybe what the schedule will look like as far as getting ready for the season?
Talked about it, and that was part of the conversation today, but there's more work to be done on that. According to the NCAA rules and the way things stand right now is, as we're talking, is that schools can start regardless of where you change the date of your first game. So if you were originally scheduled to start on September 5th, then you can start practice on August the 7th. So as of right now, that didn't change. So, but how that's going to be managed in between is going to be managed. Is important to manage how the practices are managed and how the time is managed for our student athletes, and that's all very important and will be resolved. But so much, that happens once you, like everything else, it's probably in your world too. Every time you make a decision that has something to solve a problem during this COVID-19 period, there's 3 or 4 things that have to be done right after. There's 3 or 4 more questions that come up. And so we've taken the approach, just taking it one step at a time. Let's deal with this problem. And while looking ahead to the next one, and then when we get to the next one, we're prepared to deal with that one. And so that's where we are with the schedule, with fall practice, and so on.
Herb, I know you guys, obviously I understand you've been asked a million times about the schedule so far, and I know you guys don't have one yet, but I want to ask about the starting point. Are you starting from the games that are already scheduled, staying where they are and filling in around that, or are you literally starting with a blank piece of paper?
Probably in between somewhere. There's some games that'll probably end up being, staying close to where they were originally, but there's going to be some other changes that have to be made that juggles quite a bit of it. So I don't have much of an answer for you there, but it's probably a little in between those two that you just mentioned.
Herb, I know you put it out there on Twitter, clarification that the SEC will continue to play in a division format, unlike the ACC where they're going to just one big conference this year. How big were those discussions? Because, as we've talked about before, basketball doesn't have it and baseball does have divisions, but the SEC tournament's kind of seeded 1 through 14. So what was the discussion like to go ahead and decide to keep the divisions?
Yeah, there wasn't much discussion about that. I think all along we kind of thought that's what we would keep, and as part of the schedule, we'll keep the 8 games that would have been played this year, which is based mostly on divisions. You've got your divisional opponents and then a couple of non-divisional opponents, and then we'll add 2 other non-divisional opponents. So there wasn't a whole lot of conversation. Actually, I don't recall any conversation about going away from divisions.
Herb, was there any discussion at all about consulting with the ACC or the Big 12, or did the SEC pretty much say we're going to take care of this in-house and whatever happens in the other conferences happens?
Since March, there's been a lot of communication between the commissioners. They talk almost every other day, and almost every day. But eventually you have to make decisions based on what's in front of you. And so, there was a lot of conversation where those decisions are eventually made, where a conference went a different direction than another one I couldn't talk about or may not know. But there is a lot of communication, and I think it's probably more communication than everybody might think. But eventually you've got to have conversations within your conference and make the best decisions going forward. And that's what we did yesterday with our decision to be conference only. We felt like it's the best way to manage the schedule, anticipating that there may be disruptions, and the best way to complete the season and to manage those disruptions.
Catching up with the Associate Commissioner of the SEC, Herb Vincent, here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Okay, so the SEC championship game, Herb, it's just pushed back a couple of weeks. Outside of that, it's going to be normal like we know it?
That's the anticipation right now. We'll play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 19th. It'll be a little bit different being at Mercedes-Benz Stadium 6 days before Christmas. But again, moving it back 2 weeks gives us that extra opportunity to manage disruptions, because December 12th is going to be an open date for everyone. So if there's some game that we have to make up, that's an opportunity to make up that game then.
Herb, were your television partners brought into this discussion, and from what you know now, how this may change their scheduling?
There's continued communication. There's a lot of discussions, between us and our television partners. And there's still going to be, the same, the selection process. We've got to talk through some things on how the season's going to work. Now it's a little bit different, but again, that's another step to getting the season underway.
I don't imagine that they objected to having more Southeastern Conference games. I'm just wondering if there's room for all of them to be put up there.
Yeah, there's going to be some good competition this year, that's for sure.
All right, Herb, real quick, last one from me. What maybe is the first challenge you expect to kind of face? Is it going to be just to make sure the schedule gets done? Is that kind of the number one challenge of the SEC office right now?
You have to determine who are the additional opponents on each schedule, and then you have to determine what the schedule is going to be. And so that's, as I said, one step at a time. And I know I haven't been able to answer some of your questions today, but I'll always be, try to answer any questions we can. We just started from the very beginning back in March. One of the things that we all said is, we can't be afraid to say, I don't know, because we're just in a whole different situation. So I've done a whole lot of interviews where I've just said, I don't know. And then the next week, so much more than you did the week before. And that's kind of where we are now. And we're just taking it one step at a time, understanding there's a sense of urgency to make things happen, to let people know, to let people plan. But it's really the virus that's guiding all these decisions. And we're always going to rely on our health advisors, medical advisors to lead us where we need to go. And that changes day by day. And so we're going to be patient in our decisions while always planning ahead. So that's the best I can really tell you right now.
Well, Herb, I hope the next time we have you on, I can talk about the St. Louis Cardinals getting out of the gate 2-3 in the first 5 games, and we can complain about that. I can complain about the Braves dropping 2 to the Rays.
The Cardinals are sitting in a hotel right now with their game suspended tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. So anything that we can talk about the Cardinals next time is going to be better than their situation today, I think.
Herb, last one before we get you out of here. Is there a target date to have this schedule done?
Not right now. Hopefully we'll know a little bit more early next week about where that's going to stand. And but we know people need to plan. We know that teams need to plan, the schools need to plan. So there's a sense of urgency for that. Hopefully I'll know more about that time early next week.
Appreciate it, Herb. No, it's going to be a long weekend. So best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for your time.
Good talking to you guys. Take care.
Yeah. Herb Vincent with the Southeastern Conference. I don't imagine anybody's going home and just propping their feet up for the weekend. They've got
no.
You ever seen what it's like to put together the NFL schedule? That literally there's an entire office of people that work on putting the schedule together from literally the day the season ends until they announce the schedule. It's about a 4-month period. And I know that's 16 games, and this is just 2 more games, but they go through they put all of these scenarios into the computer.
Yeah.
The computer spits out potential things, and they just go through and eliminate them. Hey, the Pope's going to be in Philadelphia that weekend. This one won't work. I'm not joking.
Yeah,
that actually happened one year.
I know, but think about how much of it's already in place. You're going to play your division opponents. You're going to play wherever you finish within, the AFC or the NFC. You're going to play that team from the other divisions in that side of the conference, and also you're going to play a certain NFC conference. But like you mentioned, where, who, what, and when, all those small little factors go into it, and that's a lot of it. That's a bulk of it already in place. That's a template that you already have, but still so much goes into factor into if the Pope's in Philly.
They've got 80% of these games on the books, and they've got locations for them. That only leaves 20%, and that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Greg Sankey yesterday said that the bye weeks will be into a 3-week floater kind there in the middle, and then of course the last week, which is December the 12th, will be available.
Yeah.
Don't envy him the task. We'll take a break. We are brought to you by Smalls Sliders. Slide through the drive-through. Quality, fresh, cooked to order. Customer service at Smalls Sliders. Nicholson at East Boyd. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Hungry Howie's. You can check them out online at hungryhowies.com. Home with the original flavored crust, butter cheese, Asiago cheese, ranch, onion, Cajun, sesame, garlic herb, all those different flavor crust choices over at Hungry Howie's, and so many different ways to get that Hungry Howie's to you. You can order on hungryhowies.com. You can always pick up the phone, give them a call, 761-HOWIE. The Nicholson location open 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. Also, the Hungry Howie's app is always available as well. Remember, Hunt tells you all the time. We tell you all the time. You can go ahead and schedule your delivery whenever you want it. Also, don't forget about the deals they've got over at Hungry Howie's. Top right corner of the website, you're going to find a deal that fits exactly what you need. If it's just you by yourself looking for a lunch special, $5 lunch special, junior one-topping pizza and a 20-ounce drink. If you've got the family, $20.99 deal. You've got 2 large one-topping pizzas plus Howie bread. Something for everybody in those deals over at Hungry Howie's at 761-HOWIE and hungryhowies.com.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Hanny Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Recapping the Pels restart. More reaction to the SEC conference-only schedule, and Terrio joins us. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you here at lunchtime by Small Sliders. Slide through the drive-thru. Quality, fresh, cook-to-order customer service. Nicholson at East Boyd. Paul should be back anytime now with our order.
Hadn't heard him, so surely he's going to get me a chocolate shake right now,
how would
or
you
a
know?
slider, or a fry, or a Coke Icy.
You never hear Paul any day. How would you know today's?
Hopeful.
I don't see him. So
hopeful.
Bring us an order. We got to some clarification on LSU's opt-out policy on season tickets yesterday as well. They will allow you to basically opt out of your tickets and either move that payment to next year, get your money back, and allow you to basically hold your place in line. That I think was a concern of a lot of people. Was, hey, what if I don't want the tickets this year? Well, they'll let you opt out. And they'll let you roll the money over. They are going to require you to have a deposit for next year a lot earlier than normal. And I'm not going to do economics 101 here today, but usually those things are due in the spring. This year they're going to be due in November. So I don't have a good feel for that. I don't know how to take a pulse of 65,000 season ticket holders during a pandemic. I can usually feel the fan base pretty good, but got your book. I would say probably you're going to have a third opt out, maybe, or just push it to next year with the idea that some people are health conscious, some people don't want to wear a mask, which is almost certainly going to be required here.
Yep.
And some people will say, yeah, no, I want to go anyway. It's going to be a unique experience. Just on a guess, about a third.
I think you're right there. And we've got some discussion on our YouTube chat inside the Bayou Ford Huddle, season ticket holders trying to decide what to do because, you have season tickets for a reason. You are a fan that enjoys going to the game, sitting in the stadium, and having that experience. Experience going to look a little different this year, Hanny. So there's going to be some people that decide to opt out or roll it over. There's also going to be a handful of people say, if that gate is open and there is a butt in that stand, my butt's going to be one of those butts in the seats.
Haven't missed a game since 19 whatever,
exactly.
And I'm going to go. So they gave you those options yesterday. We've had a lot of questions about that. Take a break, come back on the other side. Verge Ausberry will be with us in hour number 2. Chris Lowe and Andrew Lopez in hour number 3. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Look who made it. It's Matt Flynn.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Yo.
Good to see you,
What's
man.
up, man? I'm here.
You made me run down 3 flights of stairs.
It's 1 o'clock.
To come and get you. Now I'm out of breath.
This is like when I'm used to coming to radio. 1 o'clock.
That's very fair.
Now I'm an hour late.
You are.
Uh-huh.
And plus, you used to stay the full show. Now we just get you for just fragments of the show.
Bits and pieces. Bits and pieces.
How's the baby?
Baby's great.
Okay.
We're enjoying the 3-kid situation. Obviously, there's some.
Well, you better because it's not going away. So.
No choice now, right? No, it's good. I mean, it's the standard stuff with tired and life's a little bit more hectic, and so. But it's good, man. It really is. We're really blessed with all of our children, but even this one, we don't have any like nightmares of, waking up, staying up the entire night. Now we're up a lot, certainly, but it's not a nightmare situation for sure.
A father and a business owner. That's
Father
what you are.
And a businessman.
What do you think about the schedule, or what we know about the schedule?
Do I need to give you an update real quick?
Yeah.
Let me know what y'all know.
It's 10 games.
10 games, 10 SEC games, only conference games.
I heard it yesterday in the car, and I was fist pumping. I love it.
I know you do.
I never understood 12 games anyway. And I don't like the
directional schools.
Yeah, I don't like.
Don't try to throw anybody under the bus here. And I did explain that yesterday, and I realize it's coming from a different place. But can you kind of tell your side of the story? Because I was saying you try to get ready for the North Texas, App State games just like you do Florida and Alabama, because that's your intention. You try to have the same red zone package practice. You try to have the same third down meeting after a Thursday practice or whatever it might be. But it's a little bit more difficult to prepare for those games. It's hard to get it going as it is a conference game.
I don't think anyone will ever go into like a week like that when you're playing a directional school and say that there's any less intensity, because you do the same stuff. The schedule's the same. You spend just as much time on the practice field in the meeting rooms thinking about the game, and your intentions are great. You want to get up for it, and you're trying, and you have the stock answer all the time. Every athlete has one week at a time, one game at a time. We don't.
Oh, I hate that.
And you try to live that, right? But as much as you want to, get up for a game and get hyped for it, there's just something. I mean, your body can, release different hormones that get you excited about stuff, and it just doesn't happen. Like you try to do it, there's just something. There's a little bit of block. Maybe not for everybody. For a majority of people, there is though. You don't want it to be, and you try to get just excited for the game, but you don't. It just is what it is. But I love that we're playing 10 games and 10 SEC opponents.
Another part of it too is you don't really know the other team. You don't know their personnel. You don't have past history with them, and that kind of stuff plays into a game. And I can give you an example that I just talked about last week on a podcast. We played against Tennessee in 2006. Tennessee talked more-ish than any team towards me. That's the game where my helmet got knocked off, and the linebacker said, "Shouldn't you be playing for Air Force?" Right? It was that game, and they were chirping the whole game, right? We're chirping back and forth. So the first play of the 2007 SEC championship game, I didn't forget that. I'm like, I'm going to try to set a tone this very first play. We run 20 ISO, get a good shot on a DB, and it picked right up where it left off in Knoxville. And those are the type of things you get in conference games when you're playing against the same guy from the year before, and you never forget that, and you know his tendencies. You know if he's got that left leg's in front of his right leg just a little bit, well, he's rushing. But if his left leg's dropped a little bit, well, the guy's dropping because it's tendencies, and you know the guy and you know the personnel. So some of it goes, to that way as well.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, right? And a lot of times when you get when you play those games, the win-wins, whatever you want to call them, a lot of it is make it out of the game healthy, right?
Yeah.
You never want to go into a game thinking that, but you do. The coach never tells you that during the week.
Yeah.
But it's one of those just like, all right, man, I'm going to get in there. Man, I pray that we score the first 4 drives so we can get out of this game. So I don't roll an ankle or something crazy doesn't happen, right? So that's kind of the mentality you never want to go into. But you go into an SEC game, just like, it's teams you're familiar with, probably teams you got recruited by, and it's just different. And as a competitor, you always want to play the best. But maybe there's some people. There's some systems out there that's like, let's stat some pats. Did I say stat some pats?
You did, but I knew what you meant. It's fine. And my next point was going to be.
I caught it though.
You
that was
did.
impressive.
As long as you catch it.
Yeah.
Hanny, I remember after playing Louisiana Tech, and you mentioned that long run yesterday. After I did that, it put me, over 100 yards or whatever it was, and it was like 7 carries, 100 whatever, right?
Brag a little bit.
No, we talked about yesterday, almost like, oh, that's why you remember.
I think it was
that
like 100 yards or something.
So I remember Larry Porter coming over to me and goes, "Well, you're over 100. You're not playing the rest of the game," and that was it. And that's that's the type of feeling you get in those games.
Didn't they put Edwards-Helaire into the Arkansas game because he had 99 yards?
Hey, just get one more yard. He breaks off an 80-something yard run.
Right. So all of this BS about we never look at the numbers is just that, right?
Every locker room I've ever been in, the SID or in the NFL, whoever's in charge of communications has the stat sheet, and he hands it to every coach. And
in the third quarter?
Coming in halftime. No, coming into halftime, he hands them the halftime stats.
Same thing happened with, was it 03 or what was the Allie Broussard game against Auburn?
Against Auburn? Or Ole Miss when he set the record, 04.
Yeah.
Because I remember they were they were like, okay, he's X amount of yards away from the record.
Because Saban was going to take him out. And they were
trying to put a few more handoffs.
Yeah, they were trying to put a younger running back in. And then once Saban found out, he's like, no, keep him in. He'll break the record.
Dixon still blames you for one less touchdown in the national championship game. Says you.
If he didn't have alligator arms, he might have gotten him.
Okay, I need a judge's ruling on this because we did the show with Dixon and he brought this up no less than 74 times that okay,
that's all he's got.
Completely unbiased, Jacob. Whose fault was it that Dixon didn't get another touchdown?
It's never the quarterback's fault.
Boom! Never.
Richard, I was going back for you, man.
Hey, that's not to say I'm not going to bat for Richard, but the quarterback's never wrong, if you know what I mean.
It was a little misdirection, throws a crossbody, so it might have been a little bit behind him. But look, we're not talking that he had to dive for it. If he didn't have the alligator arms, he just makes a quick little adjustment, little back shoulder action, just skirts right on in. But he thinks he would have been like the MVP of the game. And I'm like, no, Richard.
The quarterback's always going to get
I would have had another touchdown.
Always.
I would have had 5 touchdowns that game.
We've been saying 56 days worth of camp, but they've already been there a week. So it's really I can't imagine you would have been real happy about a 63-day training camp.
Well, we talked about, I don't know if you were on your way and you heard us. I mean, we were saying that you would be a great person to ask this question because Coach O takes his model from Pete Carroll as far as resting his players. You played for Pete Carroll. So what would he do in this situation?
Look.
Because we know what our coaches at LSU would have done.
Les Miles, 56 days.
Or Nick.
Would have been hell, man. Even for a quarterback, I didn't even run.
Take a lap.
So what in the NFL, when they're drawing up the schedules, what do you pray as an NFL player? You pray that you don't have anybody that's a past. So as a Green Bay player, I prayed that nobody from Green Bay in the past was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because then you could be.
We didn't have that problem with the Chargers.
That's right. Because then you'd have to play in the Hall of Fame game and play 5 preseason games. Like that's a nightmare for an NFL player. But if you take that into the college ranks and how a lot of these college organizations or programs run, where it's not NFL like, and it's hard ass. Let's 3.5 hour practice. Let's do live goal lines at the end of practice. Like, it's a little bit different. So,
and then after that, young guys go where the young guys go, but you're still out there in the sun.
Yeah, exactly. So Coach O has, blown me away with his schedule management and how he just manages an entire program. And obviously he's blown everybody away.
Yeah.
But since day one, I've been uber impressed about how he handles the workload and the load on people's legs and everything like that. So I'm not worried about how he's going to handle this at all, because there's times you got to bust ass. There are some times that you have to. There's a mental toughness thing. You separate the weak from the strong and the weak, and you have to gain. And that's where a lot of the camaraderie comes. That's where a lot of the leadership is born. It kind of rises from the flames, right? Leadership, and that's what happens. That's what training camp is for. But you also have to know that we're about to play 10 SEC teams.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is get burnt out, Hanny, on day 32.
Well, every year in week, somewhere around the 2/3 mark of camp, whatever that day is when everybody starts to be like, even the media, and I know you guys don't you care about us, but when we were kind of back when they used to open practice and you get to practice 16, okay, you guys were tired running it, we were tired watching it. It's like give me something else to talk about, because I really don't want to talk about the third tackle anymore. I don't want to talk about the eighth defensive back and whether this freshman might get into the opener or not. Let's go play. So just go ahead and double that time. I'm hopeful that we'll have the NFL start on time, because at least if you get that will be some kind of distraction. And hopefully baseball will still be going, basketball will still be going. There'll be other things, because I can't do 50 days of, do you think this guy's going to be the swing tackle? Do you think this guy's going to be the fifth receiver? I mean, I'm on my creativity has been stretched already. Okay?
Only so many times can we talk about which 3 running backs are going to play and who's going to be the top dog from those running backs. I know, I agree with you. So it's not going to be a 60+ day training camp. There's going to be breaks. I'm talking about multiple day breaks.
Yep. How many times, this always happens in training camp, at least in the NFL, maybe not so much in college, where you get dressed in your pads, you go out to practice, and there's buses there waiting for you to take you to go paintball or go to bowl or something like that.
I've told you my story, haven't I? So I'm sure you have. You don't ever listen to me. So we used to chant Water Park in San Diego. Water Park. Like any moment, anytime, just to mess with Norv, and Norv would get a kick out of it, and he'd be like, guys, just basically shut up. We're going to practice. It's training camp. You're in Southern California. It's not even hot. But we said it for 3 years, Hanny, and became a big joke. And year number 4, we come out, whatever, supposed to be a 2-a-day practice, blah, 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 and nobody's chanting anything. Nor says, the one what day that y'all don't chant Water Park, I've got the buses ready to take y'all to the water park. And everybody just goes crazy. And we rented out a water park in Chula Vista, just the team. And I've never seen so many offensive linemen go as fast down these slides and almost fall off these slides, because they were gigantic. And North caught some flack from the local media, but he didn't care because we had a hell of a time.
Yeah, we'd always go to practice saying, just screaming, "Where are the buses? Where are the buses at?"
Now we got a unique topic next. Well, I say we've got a topic coming up next where we got a unique perspective, because Aaron, we're gonna take a break from the SEC schedule for just a second. We'll have Verge at the bottom of the hour, but when we come back, Aaron Rodgers basically said this week, the Packers are done with me, and there's only one person at this table that knows Aaron Rodgers pretty well. He showed up. We're going to ask him when we come back. That's next. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We are brought to you today by Smalls Sliders, Nicholson at East. Boys, slide on through the drive-thru. Quality, fresh, cook-to-order customer service from Smalls Sliders. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're also brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. Are you considering buying a house that has foundation problems? Some companies say that their work will fail if there's poor drainage around your slab, and you might be asked to pay again. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water shield pilings are engineered to withstand poor drainage conditions. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair has been servicing the greater Baton Rouge area for more than 22 years. And Michael LaMonica, I tell you, every single day, lifelong resident of Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge means so much to him. It's the first thing that he ever told me in our first ever meeting. Don't be asked to pay twice for your foundation repair work. Get Baton Rouge Foundation Repair's water shield pilings, and estimates are always free. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair can be reached at 225-275-0101. That's 225-275-0101. Also, you can check them out on their website. That's brfoundation.com for any information or any questions you might have. Again, brfoundation.com.
Live NBA play-by-play continues tonight with the Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8. And tune in Sunday afternoon as the Portland Trail Blazers take on the Boston Celtics. Our coverage begins with pregame at 2 p.m.
The NBA is on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Reviews are a smart judge of character. If you see this, it's time to move on. But this, now that's a keeper. Richards Honda is proud of our 97% customer satisfaction rating. Every day, we're stepping up our game to make you feel safe, from masks to social distancing to new ways to shop. Richards Honda is committed to fanatical customer care. Because when people call you the smart choice, you'd better live up to it. Visit us today, I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Tonight on Game Time, Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz react to the Pelicans losing their first game of the restart in heartbreaking fashion. We're live from Just Winging It on Hooshatoo from 6 to 8 p.m. Come say hello or tune in to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Small Sliders brings you today's show. Slide through the drive-through Nicholson at East Boyd. Apparently Paul got lost but it's Nicholson at Eastport. It's not terribly far
Pretty close,
from
actually,
campus.
Paul.
Quality fresh cooked to order, customer service at Smalls Sliders. Okay, Flynn, you know Aaron Rodgers pretty well, better than any of us certainly. They're about to start camp. They drafted Jordan Love. They traded up to draft Jordan Love. And this is what Rodgers had to say. He's I would say less than pleased.
I think probably the former. I think that's probably what happens. Based on just the circumstances around everything. You look at just look at the facts. They traded up, they drafted him. I would say they like him. They want to play him. It's a different environment. In 2005, my first year we were 4-12. Second year we were 8-8. There wasn't a clamoring, to play me because it was normal for young guys to sit. In the third year, 2007, we go 13-3. We're one play, we're overtime in the NFC Championship, playing at home against the Giants from going to the Super Bowl. Different scenario. Now I think quarterbacks are playing earlier. It gives some latitude for young coaches and GMs to play their guys. And I get it. I really do. Like, I don't harbor any ill will about it. Like, was I bummed out? Of course. It wouldn't be. I wanted to play my entire career in Green Bay. I love the city. I grew up there. Really, got there when I was 21. I'm 36 now. A lot changes during that time. But look, I get it. I see it completely clearly, and I'm not bitter about it. It just kind of is what it is.
What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, everything he's saying is factual, right? What we've had since, because of COVID and everything, we haven't had a lot of clips from players, right? So he hasn't had a chance to really speak on this a lot. I mean, I can guarantee you one thing, that he's not going to harbor any frustration towards the player, right? He's going to be a good mentor. He's going to be teach him everything that he can, right? I mean, it's not his job to coach and teach a first-round pick. But
you backed the guy up for what, 7 years? How was his relationship with you?
I mean, we had a great relationship. I mean, I still consider him a close friend of mine. I mean, I know that he goes about his business in an amazing way, right? He's a professional. He does everything the right way. I was at the front of the line with everybody else probably around the world being surprised that they took the draft pick. I mean, your best two players, or two of your best 3 or 4 players on offense, are a quarterback and a running back, and the first 2 picks you take in the draft are a quarterback and a running back. I mean, the guy, they have not surrounded him with anybody in the last 5 or 6 years. We had a ton of success during my time at Green Bay, but he had we had a receiving core. They surrounded him with weapons. Aaron has probably felt a lot that he's having to do a lot of things and make up for maybe some holes in some different situations. But he's not saying anything that's untrue. You have to look at the facts. They draft a kid in the 4th round. Of course they like him. They can say all they want, it's not a replacement, but they wasted a first round.
No, I think they're saying it's a replacement. It's just a matter of when. I mean, Jordan Love's 22 years old and Rodgers is 36. So eventually they drafted him to be the starting quarterback. The question is when. So it's not this year.
Yeah.
But after this year, do you think he's like, okay, guys, thanks for the memories. I wanted to retire a Packer, but I got to go quarterback the whoever's at that point.
Yeah, and I'm sure he still wants to retire and play and finish everything as a Packer, but probably the math doesn't add up as far as the contract that you're given a first-round pick to how long that he probably envisions himself playing.
You saw him at his absolute best when he was the MVP of the league. There are some people that believe that he is no longer that caliber of player. What do you does he still have the zip on the fastball?
So what I saw him do just in person is better than anybody I've ever seen do it. And I've been around a lot of good ones. In my opinion, he's the best I've ever seen. You can get into some really dangerous arguments when you start trying to compare the greats, because you can go down the stat rabbit hole. And it's really hard when you talk about the greats. It's kind of like me and Jacob trying to compare whose high school team was better. It's like you can't really ever decide. You can make really good arguments for it, but you can't ever really decide. Aaron's the best I've ever seen do it. I mean, when you talk about the gifts that he has, physical but mental, mental gifts are above and beyond what I've seen a lot of people. Does he still have it? Absolutely, he still has it. It's just about what pieces are you putting around him? What system are you putting in place? I mean, you take him right now and put him in another system, or maybe their system is good. I mean, they made it to the NFC Championship last year, but it wasn't the offensive powerhouse that we've seen. They didn't have to be. They had a really good defense. They had a better defense last year than we ever had during my time there, except for probably, what was it, 2014? I think we lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship. That was the best
pretty
team.
Pretty good in 11 defense.
Yeah.
You had pretty good. I had to play against that one. They're pretty good in 11.
Yeah.
But the offense was still
14 was probably the best all-around team I'd ever been a part of, and we blew it.
But to your point, I mean, Ty Montgomery was their starting running back, and he was wearing number 88. To Matt's point. So they never really surrounded him. Mm-hmm. Eddie Lacy had a couple of nice years, but after Eddie left, it was like just pick a guy off the street. He's going to be our running back. Now, Ty Montgomery's a nice piece. He's a nice player, but to be your starting running back, there's a reason he's wearing number 88. He's not a running back, right? And so,
name me a receiver last year besides Devontae Adams. Yeah, I mean, they had a really, really good running back. And when you have a good running back with a guy like Aaron, the best that Aaron ever played was when Eddie Lacy was there.
Yep.
But like you said, they had a running back for multiple years that wore number 88.
And not to mention they were overpaying Jimmy Graham, who is at the end. And Aaron Jones was a nice addition to what they were doing. So just so I'm hearing you right, you think the 2019/2020 version of Aaron Rodgers is pretty close, at least, to say the 2011 or 12 version of Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, it's I would say it's pretty close. Yeah, I don't know what the fall off is. I'm not around him.
The age isn't as important here with Aaron. It's still a factor. But remember, he has not played. It's kind of like Phillip Rivers. Like Phillip's been able to play to almost 40 because the first 3 years of his, or 2 years, however, 2.5 years, Drew was the quarterback. Well, Brett Favre was the quarterback, and even at the quarterback position where you're not taking a bunch of hits, that's kind of time that you did not spend playing football. Look at Antonio Gates. Didn't play college football. Well, he was able to get a couple more years at the tight end position because you don't have as much tread off your tires.
He's not going to lose any pop off his fastball. Where Aaron's relied on his athleticism to a certain extent in his career, but it's not necessarily straight line speed. He's not relying on running a 4.6 or 4.7 going into every single year. He's always had this unique ability to scramble within the pocket, and we saw that a lot with Joe Burrow this past year. Like, he can create space and create time without having to break the tackle box, and it's a very hard thing to do. And defensive linebackers, they get really frustrated with it because they're so close to him, but he maneuvers his body around and he shifts a little bit here and there to create windows and create time, and he's always been able to do that. So, like, it doesn't worry me that the age factor, that he's probably not as straight line fast as he once was, but that was never, I mean, no one's ever thinking that Aaron's going to outrun somebody.
See, Jacob, I told you I could get him to talk football. You didn't believe me. See what I did there?
I did it.
It takes me a while.
It does. It does kind of grind my gears a little bit when people start talking about Aaron and his stats and how he's fallen off. You have to look at the whole thing. I mean, football's a team game. Of course, Aaron can make a little look like a lot sometimes, but asking him to do it, to the extent that he did it 7, 8, 9 years ago when he had a lot of good pieces around him is a little bit unfair.
See, I made him do that. Flustering when we come back. Flustering.
Well, I think he's leaving us.
Oh, you're leaving? Oh, you got to go?
I got to go.
Oh, okay.
See, that was fun, though, right?
God, Hanny.
Meth Gators!
Yeah, what are we doing?
All right, next time, I promise. No Rodgers. Rodgers isn't going to talk to the media again for another month, probably. So,
hey, dingers are back.
Baseball, yeah. We got dinger alerts.
Dinger alerts all over the place.
I bet you've been
Dinger.
Let's go.
Danger.
That's
Dinger
more
alert.
what
Dinger
that's
alert.
what I know you for.
There we go. Danger.
all right, man. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll take a break. Come back here on the other side. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com, helping you out here. Talk about changing lives. They're talking about changing your monthly budget. If they can take your biggest expense and they can make it a little bit less, wouldn't that make your life a little bit easier? Well, whether you're in the market for a new home, and with rates the way they are right now, you may have more purchasing power than you ever thought. Maybe a refi will do just the wonders for you need right now to Free up a little bit of cash, maybe skip a mortgage payment or two, and, of course, the long-term benefits of the lower rate. Take a chance right now and take a call right now, gmfsmortgage.com. You'll sit with a local counselor. He'll answer a few questions, and they'll be able to proceed from you right there all the way to the closing with no surprises, and I think you're going to be really happy at how fast that process will go. Do what I did, do what thousands of others have done. Start that journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Our family of restaurants are fired up, and we can't wait to see you safely. Little Village Downtown. Call or go online for offerings and hours. Palermo Ristorante. We're serving great food right now. Little Village on Airline. Reward yourself. Stabs in Central? Nice. Stabs Prime on Jefferson. Steak or seafood? Introducing Sammy's Grill on Highland Road. We're socially responsible from a distance.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're jockeying, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Coming up on Monday's Off the Bench, you recap a weekend full of sports. Did the Pelicans manage to bounce back? What's the latest from LSU football school? And how will they handle this extended preseason? Plus, we give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Small Sliders, Nicholson, Eddie's, Boyd. Slide through the drive-through. Quality, fresh, cook-to-order customer service at Smalls Sliders. Joining us now is LSU Executive Deputy Athletic Director Verge Ausberry. Verge, good afternoon. How are you?
Charles, doing well. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. Give me your initial reaction to the SEC going to 10 games and that 2 additional games will be added to your schedule.
You know, Charles, there's so much uncertainty right now in our business. we were very happy and delighted to have something, okay? And I think this was a good plan. Commissioner Sankey did a great job in leading us through this process. It's been very difficult. It's very difficult when so much uncertainty. You don't know what's going on, what's going to happen the next day. And you think about the well-being of the student athletes and our players out there on the field. So, we came down to where, we were going to play. And to be fair and parity and things like that, what was best for the conference. You had some schools out there, especially from other conferences, already lost, had dropped, SEC schools. They're going to the 10-game format. So we had to look across the board what was best for us. And, there was options. There was 12 games, the regular 12 games. There was the other option was, 8 conference games and 2 non-conference games. Or how do you pick the non-conference opponents? And so I think the thing that the president and everyone settled on was the 10-game format of the SEC.
Verge, obviously, we know how hard you work on the schedule multiple years in advance. And so when you have these non-conference games that get canceled, is it something that you'll try to get back on the books, the UTSA, the Texas game, or is that something that you got to worry about these conference games now, then maybe you'll try to find a spot for them later?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think, you worry about the conference games right now, this year, at this point in time. And I think, starting by next week, I'll reach out to those other schools and see where we could fit those games in the future. It's a difficult task, and, you can't just really play them next year, but the schedule's been made out so far in advance right now. So I think Texas and I will be having a conversation soon about, what direction we're going to take.
Well, I had another question I'll queued up, but I can't let that hang out there. How do you feel about a future schedule that would include 2 Power 5 opponents?
Charles, that could possibly happen, but I don't know what they have on their schedule. I don't know if they're willing to do it. It depends on who we play and who's our crossover also. Florida's your permanent opponent, and you're playing Georgia. Well, I don't think you're going to put in there a Texas and a Clemson. It would just be very difficult. Get Auburn on there also. So it just depends on our crossovers and how things look, and does it make sense for us to do it. Now, if everybody in the country go, Charles, to say, okay, you know what, you got to play 2 Power 5 schools, then that's more attractive to us. Then we could try to say, okay, how can we fit this in and what year we could fit it in. So there's so much uncertainty right now out there, and we're just trying to figure out, what this thing is going to look like, not only this year, but for years going out. I think, Charles, our world is going to change. Things are going to look differently. I think, I feel for the mid-majors right now. You're talking about losing the kind of revenue they're going to lose and resources they're going to lose when not playing these type of games. It's going to really affect their budgets. And, I just hope everybody can survive this thing.
Verge Ausberry is our guest. Verge, we were talking to Herb Vincent earlier in the show. He said that the process is just starting to add these 2 teams and didn't really have a definition yet as to what strength of scheduling, that component to adding those 2 teams, means right now. In your opinion, what is a fair strength of scheduling variable to use in adding these 2 games?
And that's, Charles, we talked about that. We've had those discussions. And really, I don't know, because I don't know what everything else on the other conferences and how they're going to look at it at the end of the day. One of the questions that, we hadn't spoke about yet was, the bowl games and how many games you have to win and things of that nature. So there's a lot of unknowns out there that we still hadn't, got to. We're just letting this sink in right now, to play the 10 games and, who those 2 opponents are going to be. And once we get to that, through that process, then there's all of a sudden about the stadium occupancy, how many people come in the stadium, fans, when you start camp, how long camp goes, do you let them practice every day, all day? Some people might want to have like a spring practice before, because they got a lot of time now. It's just more beneficial to your team. So, when you look at the whole landscape out there right now, there's just so many questions we have, Charles, that this is going to be a day-by-day thing and meeting by meeting every day, 24/7, until we get to the right answers.
Verge, you look at the September 26th start date. Was that something all 14 schools wanted to do, to push it back, to allow you to get time to try to do everything you can to maybe have possibly fans in the stands and just to kind of see where everything's at that point?
Yes, and it all depends on every state too. And we have those things. When we're talking about what's going on in each state. Like right now we're in phase 2 in Louisiana, and a lot of states are in phase 2. A lot of them in probably phase 1.5. We would say, and we have some of that too in different areas of the state. So it just depends on where we are as a state. And we have a state law, HB 59, that says we have to follow the state and CDC guidelines. So. And we're outside venue, which is a lot better than being an inside venue. So right now we're like at 50% of occupancy in the stadium, and it gets to phase 3, it goes to 75%. So we got some options. You saw Scott's letter yesterday. Those 3 options we have down there, and we're discussing the details in that even. Let's say if you how you want to keep your tickets, and if you don't feel safe coming to the game. But some people, have health issues and just don't feel safe coming to the game without a vaccine or something out there right now. So those are a lot of things that, that we talk about and we discuss about those are steps that have to take place to make sure that, we make sure we have the 10 games.
Verge, is your preference that the schedule that is still in place remain that way and that they add 2 games, or would you like to start from scratch?
I think that's something that Charles, is a good question. That's something that we're talking about now too. That's part of this discussion. How do we look at it? Do you just add the 2 games in 2 spots, or do you have to how you balance it off with the open dates and things of that nature? I think you have to think also this internally with us. If there's an outbreak on your team, how you handle it. When those open dates come in, and do you have to push a game back and move a game? So you got to leave yourself a little wiggle room there. So I think once the teams are determined, who you'll be playing, I think then you look at it and say, okay, how the schedule flows. And I think all of us going to have some input on that throughout the conference with the commissioner.
How difficult would it be if you started over from scratch, Verge? Because as we all know, you've already got travel planned to go to Florida. You've got travel planned to go up to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And so you'd have to restart travel plans as well and get a charter plane and get hotel rooms and all those different things.
That's all part of this, Jacob. And that's where and anybody tell you they have answers to these things right now, they're lying. I tell people that. So everybody talk about, this guy said this guy, everybody talk. No, you know what? I think we're all in the same position right now. You're right. I would like to see it stay the way it is, and we could fit the games in somewhere around there. But I just can't. Everybody's just trying to digest what we have right now and try to figure out how this thing's going to look and how we're going to play it out, and what's going to be fair to all the teams in the conference, and somebody's going to get the short change of that. That's just the way this business works. But we're going to try to do what's right for everybody, and hopefully we have a good schedule coming out here.
Verge, since we've never done anything like this before, I want to ask you about the process of determining this schedule. How is that going to work? Is it going to be 14 athletic directors on a conference call making suggestions? Is it going to be the league sending you individual proposals for a thumbs up, thumbs down? How does the process work?
I think that, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be, we all going to make recommendations. It's up to us, who we would play. But I think the conference is going to handle it. It's going to come from the conference. They set the SEC schedule, so there's going to be one setting the schedule. And you probably look back at some future and past rotations and see what's out there. Mark Womack at the SEC office will be handling this for us.
You said earlier that it's going to be a different landscape moving forward in regards to non-conference scheduling, and I think you're right, and I hope that you're right. But in regards to the conference schedule, do you think there may be some permanent changes that come out of this particular situation?
I think if that happens, Charles, it'll be in the future. I think the format is set up for the next 2 or 3 years. But I think after that, then the format might change. And the thing about this here, you also got to worry about the health of our student athletes. Charles, everybody wants to see you playing. They're not NFL players. We're not an NFL program where we have college athletes, we have college student athletes. We have a lot of things we throw in there. Jake would tell you a lot of issues players have. We have to care about that first. So, everybody want to play 12 big-time games and that's just not healthy for our program. And that's why we try to do what we do to ease the schedule in places where we can, where you can't get beat up. You see, I can't go out there and just say a player gets hurt. Jacob, NFL guy, I could go replace him, get a guy for another team. If I lose 2 or 3 of my running backs, then, that's it for the year. Right. That's the same thing with COVID-19 we have. What happens if one running back catches it and the whole room catches it? We made a joke. Shelley Mullinax, who's done a great job with Dr. Katie O'Neill, about, the team that going to win the championship this year will be the healthiest team at the end of the day. But, we have to, and Charles, we've been telling this to everybody, do what they're telling you to do. Wear the mask, social distancing. Please do that. Because bottom line, if you want to have a football season, you need to do those things. If not, these numbers keep going in the wrong direction through the country. This going to get, it's going to get pushed back too. And we're just being perfectly honest with people. We're not trying to, it's not a political thing we're trying to get into, but it's a thing we're trying to tell people those numbers have to be going in the right direction for us to have a football season.
Catching up with Verge Ausberry here on Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Verge, obviously 10 conference games, a lot of conversation in past years about how many conference games is the right number of games. Do you think this will change anything in the future as far as how many SEC games we play?
We talk about that, Jacob, depending on how the schedule looks and what happens in the future. If you're playing 12 games, you're playing 12. Let's say we keep it at 12. Then, that's always 2 more losses for the conference. You have to think about that. And then it's, who you play. I mean, this is a pretty tough conference. And we think this conference is tough enough the way it is by playing a Power 5 and playing 3 other games with mid-majors and FCS school. We think it's tough enough. When you look at our schedule, the teams we play week in and week out, they might not have that record, but when you're playing a tough SEC West schedule, and throw in Florida, who's always has great athletes. And, Jacob, that was your big game when you were here at the 1-yard line. Those are good football players over there. And that's not no matter what Florida's record, that's very good football players. So, Jacob, we just going to wait and see after these next 3 years and see what happens. We all have our opinions, and I have some strong opinions on how it should change. But, that's going to be up to the vote when we all get together, AD's recommendations, and the commission and the president's vote on it.
You do know, Verge, that when I talk about adjusting the schedule, I'm not talking about adjusting the number of games so much as I'm adjusting who you play in the other division. If
That's right.
You know where I'm
permanent opponent. Yeah, I agree with you on that. We would like to see. We would like to see that change also. And I think in the future, Charles, there will be some conversations about that. There's already been conversations about it. And I think in the future there possibility some things will happen with changes in the permanent opponents.
You and I have had that discussion many times.
Yeah.
So I'll ask it this way: there was a time when LSU basically was on an island by themselves and wanting to see that change. Do you feel like there's more support now than at any other time since the conference realigned?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of conversations about it. And I don't know if I would say support, hard support, or soft support on it, but there's a lot of conversations about it. I think it's good for our brand too, and I think that's the way we're going to look at it also. Sometimes our fans get tired of traveling to Florida. Florida fans get tired of traveling here. We hadn't been to Missouri, and they've been in the conference for a while now, and we hadn't been to Missouri in a long time. And you saw last year when Georgia came here, they hadn't been here since 2003. My personal feeling is that you play football in this conference, you should have an opportunity to play every school in this conference. And you might not be able to play in their venue, but at least you play them. Sometimes we just don't play teams in the conference for a long period of time the way it's set up. And like I said, we hadn't been to Missouri yet. And I don't know when the last time we've been to Kentucky. Probably the year we led the 2 losses to Kentucky for 2007.
Ooh,
you look at that. That's what 12, 13 years.
You're gonna have full recruiting cycles that never even sniff those places.
Oh, no, sniff those places. Yeah, and I think and this is my personal opinion, so I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody in the conference at LSU, but my personal opinion as a former player. I think Jacob can tell you that we would like to play. I would like to play Missouri. I would like to play South Carolina. We're playing them this year. I would like to play Kentucky and travel to Kentucky. All those are learning experiences for our players. We travel to different destinations and play games and have those opportunities to play those other teams in the conference.
Verge, we appreciate your time. I know it's going to be a busy upcoming few days. So thanks a lot for your time. Yeah, we'll talk to you when it's over.
Thank y'all very much.
Have a great weekend, Verge Ausberry, Deputy Athletic Director at LSU. We'll take a break. Here we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, on Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, as you know, Hungry Howie's is on the Hangin' with Hester and Hanny team. Hungry Howie's is home of the original flavored crust and has multiple ways to get your Hungry Howie's to you. Call them at 761-HOWIE. You can order on hungryhowies.com. The Nicholson location right there south of LSU is open 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. You cannot beat those hours. And the Hungry Howie's app is always available for you. Hungry Howie's is always making sure that you're taken care of with their incredible specials. Like right now, get any 2 items from the Mix and Match menu for just $5.99 each. Choose between pizza, salad, calzone, Howie bread, or a 4-pack of Pepsi. Forget having to decide between flavored crust pizza and Howie bread, and forget having to choose between a salad and a Howie cookie. You get the idea. Get whatever you want, and it's that easy. Remember, multiple ways to order Hungry Howie's. HungryHowies.com, 761-HOWIE. You can go pick it up at the Nicholson location, and they're always ready for you over at HungryHowies.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
1045 ESPN invites you to take a short quiz for a chance to win a brand new EU1000 generator from our friends at Bozeman Distributors. Simply go to 1045ESPN.com now through August 16th and take the quiz to see how prepared you are for hurricane season. Everyone who takes the quiz is automatically entered to win the generator. Our winner will be chosen on Monday, August 17th. Get prepared for hurricane season from 1045 ESPN and stay prepared with Bozeman Distributors.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new...
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Recapping the Pels restart. More reaction to the SEC conference-only schedule, and Terrio joins us. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Let me take back most of what I said about Blaine Besh. He went to Sliders. He got us some milkshakes.
And I've got to take it back too, because as you've heard me talk about before, the Big Squeezy, and he went and picked me up a juice cleanse. And so another one of our partners here, the Big Squeezy, is helping me out with a juice cleanse. So we're taken care of from every angle, and who would have thought?
Small Sliders.
Blaine Besh.
Yeah. You know, honestly, I should probably be drinking that. You should probably be drinking this, but
Hey, they're both good. They're both
it's
fantastic.
just how it turned out. I thought Verge had some interesting things when he's talking about things are going to change. When we're asking about the Texas game, I don't think there's any question that we're going to see some permanent changes come out of this pandemic from a scheduling standpoint. I'm not telling you the SEC is going to go to 10 games. They did that this year because they had to. But when he's telling you that, hey, listen, 2 non-conference games against Power 5 opponents may very well happen. Well, that's not something that's been the norm. Everybody's going to have to do that. I think there's going to be the fans obviously want that, but there's going to be a demand from their TV partners at some point that, hey, listen, we've done all the Texas San Antonio games that we want to do. We want you to play somebody. And I think there'll be a balance. They'll have to have some of those games. Right.
That's going to change.
The same thing when they went to 12 games. Well, we'll do that because there's 14 weeks this year. Well, wait a minute. That worked really good. We made a bunch of money. That's going to happen. And when Verge says, I really feel for the smaller schools, he's telling you basically at that point, hey, listen, there ain't going to be as many of those games. That's what I read into it.
For sure. And I feel bad for him as well. Y'all have heard me talk about in-state schools, and I think that means a lot, in Louisiana pride and all of those things. I truly do. But at the end of the day, if it's the best product for the main source, and the main source in Louisiana is LSU, then it's going to continue to stay that way. And, think about being in that stadium. Even if it's a game like the Syracuse game, well, you're going to have more fans that stay for a Syracuse game than they do a Southeastern. That's just how it is, right? Even though Syracuse isn't a powerhouse, it's a Power 5 team in the ACC, that fans are going to stick around and watch that game until the very end.
Hour number 3 includes Chris Lowe at 2:15 from ESPN and Andrew Lopez covering the Pelicans, who lost their opener in the restart last night. He'll be with us a little after 2:30. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Like this, you don't have days like this. Holding your face like this, you don't ever play like this. Tell them please, man, hell up freeze on the day I miss. My handle game certified, you would never know when the thing might switch.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Prompt,
Professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Richards Honda is constantly looking for smart ways to make things easier for you. So we created our buy from home option. It's the easiest, most convenient way to shop for a car, all from the comforts and safety of your own home. Just log on to richardshonda.com, click on the buy from home button, and with a few simple steps, your new or pre-owned car will be ready for pickup or delivered right to your door. It's fast, easy, and smart. Try it today at richardshonda.com.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3 on a Friday afternoon. Glad that you're with us. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. And you're watching along with us on CST or our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN. You'll also be able to go back and link any of the interviews that we've done. Verge Ausberry will be up here in just a little bit on our Hangin page. So if you want to go back and look at that. But Verge had a lot of interesting things to say.
I thought Verge was fantastic. I thought he gave us some information, and it's very difficult to give us, breaking news because they don't have it.
Everybody wants to know who they're playing and when they're playing, and that's just not available right now.
They just don't have that right now. But I did think Verge was great talking about trying to reschedule the Texas game and talking about the smaller schools like you mentioned in the last segment. And so, right now we don't know a whole lot. Everything we're just speculating as far as how this schedule is going to come. But I mentioned something with Verge, and he answered it, but I want to talk a little bit more about it. When you start talking about travel, and if you completely said, okay, reset, we're going to come up with 10 games, the games you had scheduled, don't even look at those are done. I mean, it might be a little bit easier to get hotel rooms now than it typically is, but still, you've got someone in charge of travel. Even if you're a skeleton crew, you're still traveling a charter plane to wherever, and you've got to have rooms, and it's got to be a certain hotel room, and you've got to have ballrooms to have walkthroughs and all those different things. And so if you hit reset, well, all of a sudden, here you go. You got to completely rehaul all of your travel, which takes a very long time, and there's a lot of details that go into that.
I'll go you one better than that. I'm pretty sure you're going to see a decent amount of same-day travel this fall, and which I know is very hard.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you can't do it for a day game, but for night game, I know it's already going to happen in the smaller conferences, so I wouldn't be shocked. Tennessee had to do that for the Rita game. They had to fly in and fly out. There simply was
not
not
about that game.
Well, okay, I would just use it as an example. Sorry, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see in some cases where it's absolutely necessary same day travel.
And it's brutal. And you might say, why? It is. And we did it in the preseason in the NFL because it was the preseason, and it's not ideal. But if you have to do it, you might see some bus travel for a lot of places too. Maybe to try to save some budget there. If it's a 4-hour trip, do you take a bus? I don't know. It might not. You still might get on the charter plane, but
let me ask you from this standpoint. Tuscaloosa to Starkville, I think, is about an hour, right? Somewhere in that area. Is that really all that different let's just
No,
say
they
for
probably
Alabama.
drive that game anyways.
But they stay in a hotel somewhere,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for now, maybe you stay on campus. When you guys played it at Auburn, didn't Les make you guys stay in Columbus, Georgia? Wasn't it?
No, we stayed in Montgomery.
Y'all stayed in Montgomery. Okay, well, Montgomery to Auburn is 45 minutes
yeah,
or so.
I mean, we stay in Ocala when we play in Gainesville.
Yeah, okay.
When we played Tulane, obviously the Superdome, we drove to that game.
But you drove in.
We stayed the night before.
Where'd you stay the night before the Tulane game?
In New Orleans, the Hilton.
Okay, so this year, that's probably unnecessary.
Yeah,
that's one of those deals where no, you're not going to go down and stay somewhere that close. Now, you're going to South Carolina. That's different.
What SEC trip? This isn't rhetorical. Which one do you think is same day travel length?
Alabama, Mississippi State comes right to mind.
Well,
Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
If the schedule stays the same, those are both home games.
Okay, so one of those teams can go in there. South Carolina to Georgia is probably doable in a day. Now, for your outliers, Arkansas, they don't have a trip that makes sense. Probably Gainesville, Florida probably doesn't have a trip that makes sense.
Florida, the closest is Auburn.
Yeah, and so for those, it probably doesn't make sense. But and for LSU, the closest really is Starkville. You can make it to Starkville in 4.5 hours, but that's not any picnic. So it's not going to make sense for everybody. But yeah, there's some. I would imagine that's going to be part of the deal. It's going to be economic driven. It's going to be safety driven, and they're going to say, "Hey, listen, it's an hour to Starkville. We're going to stay home tonight, and you're going to drive up in the morning." I'm sure Saban won't like that, but I could see
a lot
that
of things that he don't like.
Right. I could see at some point where some of these schools, and certainly in the MAC.
Oh, absolutely.
The CUSA.
Yes.
The Sun Belt.
If UL Monroe and UL Lafayette, that's the same day you're driving that game.
Especially if it's a night game, you're going to get. And look,
that was going to be
that.
when you first brought this up. That was going to be my follow-up question, because there's going to be so many marquee matchups within the SEC. You're going to have conference games only. We all know that, right? Well, you're going to have some big-time games. And even if it's not the biggest game, if you have a Tennessee versus, whoever, Auburn, say that's the game that it ends up happening. Well, there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on that game. And so you only have so many slots if you stay on Saturdays because the NFL's playing. You're not going to Sundays. High school football, I don't believe you're going to go to Fridays to try to change it up that way. You're going to have some day games because of TV rights. You're going to have to still play those games and those time slots to be able to get everybody on the TV.
Satisfy your TV contracts is going to be not the most important thing. The health is the most important thing. Let me just stay with the company line here, okay? But they've got to balance these budgets some kind of way. They've got to make some revenue. And the TV is going to be where it's at. Even in a best-case scenario, these stadiums aren't going to be full. You got to make sure the TV revenue gets there. And you're going to be giving them 2 less games. Now, you would say, well, okay, you're subtracting the Nichols game. Sorry, Kate, I keep picking on you. I really wish it was
Southeastern.
I really wish it was yeah, but they're playing Nichols this year, so I really wish it was somebody different. You're giving them 2 less games. In our business, from a standpoint of inventory, you talk about commercial inventory. Commercial inventory is in many cases sold in bulk. In other words, you get the Alabama game, you have to take the Nichols game. Okay?
Yeah, right.
So you sell the inventory based on how many avails you have. This is technical. This is industry talk. Okay, so you're taking away 2 games worth of available sellable inventory, even though they're the 2 worst games on your schedule. Well, you sold it.
Yeah.
It's all got a price per available.
Yeah. Do you think ESPN and CBS and all these TV partners, they have some poor intern that has to have the phone ready for whenever the schedule is announced, whenever they get that call from the office that they're going to be trying to buy those games and the games that we didn't know we were going to have?
No, I think they get them automatically. I don't think they even have to do that. I think it's going to be.
Well, as far as if it's a big time game in CBS, like, no, that's ours. We'll take that one.
Well, there's still a pecking order, from what Verge told us. CBS is still up at the top, and then ESPN gets their games, and the SEC network.
How much longer is CBS?
Till 24, but there's been rumblings that they may get out of that early.
Buy it out, yeah.
Right. I think the scenario you're talking about is if they had gone to the +1 model. Now, if that had happened, if the SEC had said yesterday that they're going to the +1, then there would have been a clamoring for what matchups can we make? Because then you have to fill the game for the ones that don't have those in-state built-in rivalries.
Right.
Who now is Alabama going to play? Who now is Auburn going to play? Who now is LSU, had the Texas game been ruled out? Who are they going to play from the ACC? We had heard if they went to that and the Big 12 balked that, well, they would pair LSU with Virginia Tech. Well, there would have been a very strong desire for games involving teams like that.
CBS usually delays week 3. I think is always their first game. Or
no,
whatever.
they moved it back. They used to have the U.S. Open. They don't have the U.S. Open anymore. The U.S. Open tennis.
I'm saying, but CBS typically doesn't start the season with the SEC game, obviously, right?
Oh, there's some non-conference games that go on there, yeah.
And so if you're starting, if you blow it up and you start all over. And you're having to put these games everywhere, then CBS is obviously going to have first pick there. But you could potentially have some primetime, big-time marquee matchups that end up on ESPN2 that typically
it's going to happen.
Would be completely different.
It's absolutely going to happen. The question I would ask is CBS going to allow a direct competition? They have had in some weeks a 3:00 game on ESPN2, I believe it was. But CBS has got in contract. They get an exclusivity. Now, a couple of weeks a year, 2-3 weeks a year, there's just no avoiding it. But you're going to have 7 conference games almost every week, but probably 2.
Yeah.
They may have to say, listen, we ain't piling 3 games up at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
We're not in the business of losing money. You guys may have to deal with us putting an SEC game on at 3 or 4, and you put a game at 11, you put a game at 2:30, you put one at 4, you put one at 2 at 6, one at 6, one at 6:30, and then a late game at 8.
Jimmy's mind might explode. Does he have enough TVs for this?
He'll make it work.
Okay, because he had a hell of a setup for Premier League soccer.
Be amazed at the things he can move around. Today's show is also brought to you in part by Supreme Rice. Make every meal supreme with Supreme Rice. We were supposed to have some company at the house this weekend, and so we decided early in the week we're going to make shrimp etouffee. I was pretty excited about that. And you know what? Now we're not having company. We're still having a shrimp etouffee. We're still
not going away, baby.
With Supreme Rice. Grown, milled, and processed right here in South Louisiana. If you're supporting Louisiana farmers, support them with Supreme Rice for our etouffee, for red beans, for gumbo, and a whole lot of unique recipes that are available on the site. I told you about the red bean and rice balls. I'm anxious to try this. Tracy's going to have to learn how to cook this thing because I'll make a mess of it. But it's just one of a number of unique recipes that you can get at supremerice.com. So for your next gathering, for your next family meal, get your food dollar stretched with Supreme Rice. You can get it at all Walmarts, at Costco's, at Bethurns, at Rouse's, and of course all of your AG food dealers. Every grain is supreme with Supreme Rice, and for more information, go to supremerice.com. When we come back, Chris Lowe from ESPN will be with us. We're talking what else? Football scheduling, because now we know that they want to start the season on September the 26th. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you every single day by our title sponsor, Richards Honda. Right there on the homepage of richardshonda.com, you're going to find the Warm Fuzzy Promise. That's upfront, transparent internet pricing on richardshonda.com. No unwanted preloaded accessories, complimentary paint protection, superior service and parts center. Look, this brand new state-of-the-art dealership at 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard. That's I-12 and Millaville. Their service center is gigantic. It is state-of-the-art. It is waiting on you to drive up, which, of course, you can schedule that service on richardshonda.com so they're ready for you when you pull up. You're always going to get outstanding customer care, complimentary free first oil change as well. All that's part of the Warm and Fuzzy Promise that you can find on the homepage of richardshonda.com. Over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot. Go check them out today. You're going to find something that you fall in love with over at 13413 Millaville Greens Boulevard. That's Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Tonight on Game Time, Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz react to the Pelicans losing their first game of the restart in heartbreaking fashion. We're live from Just Winging It on Hooshatoo from 6 to 8 p.m. Come say hello or tune in to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here you go.
All right.
Top speed.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now, Chris Lowe from ESPN. We're talking college football scheduling. Chris, we expect to see something today from the Pac-12. Monday is the Big 12's meeting. So what's next? What's the next domino to fall in this college football rescheduling, we'll call it?
Well, we know that the Pac-12 has already said that they were going to start later, so that won't be a surprise. They were already planning, that they were going to play this conference games and they were going to start the season later. So we know that's coming. I think the Big 12 had sort of held out, hoping that they could preserve a few of the non-conference games. They may be too sort of cornered into just playing all conference games as well. We'll see. See, all of this needs to be written in pencil, and I think you guys realize that. All of us as media fans need to realize that. All these are planned. These are what conferences hope to do, and I think the big reason the SEC went the way it did is it gives it control and flexibility. You don't get a team from outside the conference calling LSU or Alabama or Auburn in October and saying, hey, we can't play. We got too many guys that are sick or testing protocols, they're going haywire. Now everything is within the conference. You get more, if you have to adapt, and clearly everyone's going to have to adapt and adjust some on the fly. you do it all within the protocol of the league. And I think that's what Greg Sankey, the president, the commissioners, everybody involved in this decision, even a lot of the ADs like the most about a 10-game conference schedule.
CeeLo, I don't envy anyone trying to figure out which model to add these two games to the SEC schedule.
I heard they were going to have a committee, Jacob, and you were going to be on that committee.
I know. I'm resigning.
Going to be public. All your votes of who played who was going to be public. How about that? I can see you putting Alabama up against, say, Florida. They already played Georgia.
I think Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky need to be their three East opponents.
Yeah, the two best teams, and you getting a call from your old coach. You think your phone will be ringing from your old coach? I don't know which way they're going to go, but we know this. All of us haven't been around the SEC for a long time. No matter what they decide, somebody's not going to be happy. You know, where they just go with the next two cross-divisional rotating opponents, which there's a lot of discussion about that, or the league office forms some type of ranking system, which they've also discussed. I guess you seed the teams based on strength, and then you sort of dole out 2 extra games that way. Good luck with that one. You know, I mean, but no matter what happens, no matter how they do it, somebody's going to feel that they got the short end of the stick.
Chris, when they talk about strength and seeding, what are we talking about using as criteria? Are we talking about just the 2019 season? Are we talking about a 2 or even 3 year rolling average? Or we talking about returning star? What are we going to use for a strength of schedule component? That's the part that gets by me.
Yeah, well, I've been asked that by a lot of coaches, a lot of people in the league. You know, I mean, I don't know if they know completely, which is why a lot of people felt like they would just probably the simplest. Now, it may mess up or screw with future schedules a little bit, but the simplest way to do it would be just to say, all right, if you're rotating opponents in 2021 and 2022, like who would LSU play in 21-22 across division? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
LSU would have Tennessee and Kentucky as the next two.
All right. So then this year LSU would play those two teams. A lot of people felt like that was the simplest way to do it. Now, you know, some schools, the luck of the draw, for instance, Alabama would have to play this year Florida and Georgia. Florida, if you did it that way, would have to play LSU, Alabama, and Georgia. So, you know, some of the schedules would be top heavy. Again, I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, but to answer your question, I guess they just the league comes up with some type of, you know, committee similar to what the playoff committee looks like, and try to, you know, use several different factors to determine, you know, what would be the fairest way to balance the schedules based on, you know, like you said, what they've done previously, what they're supposed to do this year. Again, I don't know that anybody knows for sure. I think that's why they did not announce a definitive schedule when they announced the other day that they were going to go to 10 games, because they still are sort of looking into this and discussing it and trying to figure out what makes the most sense. Whatever model they choose or whatever route they decide to go, you know, all the ADs have to approve it.
Chris Lowe of ESPN is our guest here on Hangin with Hester and Hanny. CeeLo, something that I was a little surprised by is the fact that they stayed with the divisions, because basketball, you have no divisions in the SEC. In baseball, you have them, but it doesn't really matter because the SEC baseball tournament is seeded 1 through 12, all those teams that get in, right? And so then when you look at the football model, if you're going to play 10 conference games, I thought this year maybe you got rid of the divisions and the 2 top teams played in Atlanta. Were you surprised they kept the divisions?
Not really, because that at least that gives you some semblance of normalcy of what you've always done and do it the way you've always done it. So you're still playing all the teams that you were supposed to play, you know, in your division and out of your division. Everybody's got obviously a rotating and permanent cross opponent, and everybody has, you know, knows what division they're in. Now you add 2 games to that. And so not really. I mean, I could see if they had done that, and just said, I guess, Jake, you're saying basically you just said, all right, the teams, no matter whether you're in the West or the East, with the 2
right.
best winning percentages play in Atlanta for the SEC championship.
Right.
I mean, I could see that too. Again, I think whatever you do, this is such an extraordinary year, and it's so different. And, you know, we hear the term unprecedented all the time. I mean, it's just so new, and everything's going to be so unique that no matter what they decide, there's going to be some second guessing, people wondering, should we have done that? Should we have done this? I just hope we get to a point where we can play 10 conference games, honestly. That to me, that's a win. If we can play 10 games like they proposed, with the way some of the numbers have spiked, some of the outbreaks, and some of the challenges that are going to be out there, guys, I think that's a huge win. And there's still questions to be answered. How many fans are going to be let in stands? What's going to happen if a team has a big outbreak, the week before they're supposed to play? And there's all these things that you're going to have to figure out. Nobody really has answers to right now. But if we could just get to the point to where the virus, and Greg Sankey said it many times, the virus ultimately is going to tell us how many games we play and sort of how long we can play, et cetera. But we can get to a point where we can play football. Starting September 26th gives us a little bit more time to weigh some things. I think the presidents, one thing I did hear, and you guys probably did too, is the presidents sort of like the idea of starting that late in September because it gives the general student population a chance to get onto campus and be there in most cases for 5-6 weeks and see what kind of impact that has. If the cases go up, are they able to manage it okay? What impact that has on the fall athletic teams, and then you sort of have a better picture going into the start of football season in September of what that, what all this, having 25, 30, 35,000 students on campus will do.
Chris Lowe is our guest. Chris, in the early 2000s, when there was a quirk in the calendar, college football experimented with 12 games in a season and liked it so much that they made that a permanent change. Teams looked at it after it was over and said, look, more football, more money, this is great. Do you think there'll be some momentum when this is over? I'm just asking you to speculate here that with 10 games that they look at this at the end of everything and say, hey, look, better football, potentially more money, that this sparks potential change in the way we think of scheduling?
I think there's going to be a lot of change, period, across the board. The way you practice, meetings, how much coaches feel like they got to be there all the time, how much players need to be there. I think we're going to see all sorts of changes, and I think scheduling is going to be right in there. I've had several coaches tell me for a while now that, if you're an LSU, like LSU last year, Alabama, Clemson, those teams that play, earn the national championship picture, you're going to play, 15 games. LSU played, 15 games last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a ton of football for a college, for anybody, a ton of football. Is there a way to scale back? I like the idea of playing more conference games. I always have. I always felt like the SEC should go to 9 conference games, and maybe you reduce it. But listen, it's going to be less money for schools, and you guys know as well as anybody that no one's going to be jumping up and down, no administrator, that and say, all right, we'll take fewer games, which means fewer money or less money. But I think for the good of the athletes, for the good of the players, if you can scale back and not play as many games, but maybe play more quality games, that makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you what, I've had 2 coaches tell me already, though, even though I, as a fan, as a media member, seeing 10 conference games is pretty cool. That's an awful lot of football, an awful lot of tough, hard-nosed football for a kid to play 10. You talk about pounding it, and number 18, this, playing 10 conference games in the regular season, and then let's say you have to turn around and play a championship game, which is 11, and you make the playoff. That's a lot of tough football. Where there are no gimmies built in. There are no buy-in games. 10 SEC games a season takes a toll, I think, on any kid's body.
And with that being said, we haven't really had, because of everything going on this offseason, Chris, we haven't had the hot seat talk, which I'm kind of glad because it's not one of my favorite things to talk about. But I think a lot of coaches probably get an extra year that maybe wouldn't have gotten next year. And I'm kind of looking at guys like Will Muschamp, and we know what the buyout is. And because, money's going to be different, and because there's going to be a more difficult schedule, we might not have any coaching changes in the SEC this year.
Well, look at it this way. If you're cutting sports and furloughing staff, longtime staff members in your athletic department, and maybe in some cases laying off staff, how do you justify doing that and saying, okay, but we're still going to pay Coach Y $7-8 million to go away, or Coach X, $9 or $10 million to go away? So I agree with you. I think it's going to be hard. The optics of that would be pretty ugly. When you're cutting sports and cutting back period, people are taking pay cuts and being furloughed to pay that kind of cash just for a coach not to coach. And then you're going out on top of that, so if you're firing a coach in an SEC school, you're going to go out and then have to pay a lot of money to bring somebody in that you think can be better than that coach. So, yeah, I think this is one of those years where you're probably going to see fewer and fewer, coaching casualties as far as guys getting fired because of that. Because it's going to be, Hanny, you brought up a minute ago, it's a whole new world, economically, financially. Creativity is probably going to be at a premium more than ever, and how schools go about managing the athletic department, coming up with money. I'd say another reason for playing conference games, do we see schools, if they're night games and it's an easier trip, do we see schools playing the day of the game that morning? Get in and get out. Not only for expenses, but just less chance to have kids out and about around hotels where they might contract the virus. I think there's going to be all sorts of new things like that we're going to see this year in the football season.
Chris, we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to what's next. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet, guys. Hey, you call, I'm going to deliver, just like number 18 used to deliver down the goal line.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you,
that,
Chris.
CeeLo.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Andrew Lopez, Pelicans open with a loss in the restart last night to the Utah Jazz. We'll get to that when we come back. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm, fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube page. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat. Find highlights for each show's channel and get notified whenever we go live.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Methern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
Coming up on Monday's Off the Bench, you recap a weekend full of sports. Did the Pelicans manage to bounce back? What's the latest from LSU football school? And how will they handle this extended preseason? Plus, we give you our weekend winners. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Pels dropped their opener last night to the Utah Jazz by 2. Last-second shot by Brandon Ingram, in and out. And right off the bat, the Pels find themselves playing from behind here, trying to get into a playoff series with probably the Memphis Grizzlies. Joining us now is Andrew Lopez covering the Pels. Andrew, watching last night, the 20 turnovers, the defensive lapses, and Lonzo Ball having a very, very poor night shooting the basketball. Did New Orleans in game one?
Yeah, we can sit here and talk about Zion's minutes, non-minutes, playing whenever he did, but Zion didn't lose you that game by any means. He was just a part of it, and when you step back and you look at everything that happened, as you pointed out, there was a lot more things going on. Brandon Ingram started out hot. He started out very good. It looked he was going to have another strong game against the Jazz, and 3 games against the Jazz this year. He averaged 39 points. He had a career high 49 at one point. But him and Lonzo Ball end up 9 of 33 combined. And you mentioned turnovers. They had 20 turnovers. Some of them were live ball. You didn't really get to get out any fast break opportunities. You only had 7 fast break points. And all of this, the Zion stuff aside, you still had a chance to win the game. And Brandon Ingram's shot was very close to going in. It basically just rimmed out. So you definitely had a shot to win that game. Maybe B.I. should have passed it to J.J. Redick coming off that triple screen coming there. But at the end of the day, you knew these were going to be your 2 tough games against the Jazz, against the Clippers, and then things schedule-wise, it kind of lightens up. So you got to kind of take advantage of what's coming next. At the end of the day, you thought you were going to go 6-2, 7-1 to have a chance, and you thought you were going to drop one of these. So now you got to make that up.
Andrew, as you pointed out on Twitter earlier today, Pelicans lose their league-leading 20th game this season, where they were tied or had the lead in the final minute of a game. Those clutch situations continue, even though this long layoff, more the same as they continue to struggle down the stretch in close games.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. So we got that stat from ESPN Stats and Information, and we have this open channel where we can ask them different questions. And I asked them about that last night, and I basically just said, I was like, hey, how can we quantify these close losses? Because it feels like they've been a lot. And we were looking for like something where like the other team scored in the last 24 seconds or anything like that, and they came up with this: tied or had the lead in the last minute of the game or fourth quarter or regulation, and it came down to that. And I was just like, man, that's a lot. I mean, 20 losses is a lot. It's a league lead. I think the Spurs, they broke it out with the Spurs. Spurs had 19. A couple teams had 18. A couple teams had 17. So it's not exactly something that doesn't happen. However, it has just happened time and time again to the Pelicans this year. They are 12 and 25 in games that the NBA defines as clutch, which is under 5 minutes left, the score within 5 points. And so they've not been good at all in those games. 12 and 25, I think, second worst in the NBA. So this has been a problem all year. It's not just something that happened tonight. It was just something that they could not overcome.
Andrew Lopez is our guest. Andrew, the 15 minutes for Zion Williamson, I'm not trying to bury the lead here or anything, but when he came back from the injury, he played more than that. This was a less than a 2-week absence. To our knowledge, he wasn't injured. He certainly didn't look out of shape in the minutes he played last night. He didn't look like he was favoring anything. So it does beg the question. A visibly, I thought, agitated Alvin Gentry after the game was, hey, listen, I couldn't play him anymore because that's what I was told. Does 15 minutes for a guy that looked like he looked like in those 15 minutes seem overly cautious to you?
I'll say this. I don't agree with the fact that he was in shape last night. He looked if you go back and look at his defense, he was not good, and I think that's being generous on the defensive end. He was not getting he was missing rotations. He was late. There was a couple of inbound passes where he just didn't react. He was gassed last night, and I think that does come from not having much activity. And I think he is a special case with being the size that he is. That is a problem for him. He struggled mightily on the defensive end. His defensive rating last night was 164.3, which means the Pelicans gave up 164.3 points per 100 possessions. The next closest guy on the team last night, I think, was 117. That is an abysmal rating. So, as David Griffin just talked about not too long ago, I think we just got off a press conference with him. He said, look, it's going to be a ramp-up thing. You go back and look at the scrimmages that these guys played in Orlando. The first two scrimmages, Drew Holiday, Lonzo, those starters, they played 12 to 15 minutes, and then they played 15 to 18. There's a ramp-up that they have scheduled for them. Obviously, I think they would have liked to play Zion more. I think Zion would have liked to play more, but they are looking at this from a long-term thing. Now, obviously, there's not that many games left. You're trying to win games. So it does become a little bit problematic, but his on-court performance is not as great as I think some people are making it out to be. Was he great on offense? Yes, he's always going to be, but he was very, very bad on defense last night.
One of the big positives last night for the Pelicans, Andrew, was the bench. When you look at Jackson Hayes, when you look at J.J. Redick and Hart as well, they played some really nice minutes, and a lot of people questioned down the stretch maybe why they didn't play more minutes.
Yeah, that was one thing that Alvin Gentry outright admitted just now to us, that he told his players and he told the media he should have played the bench more last night. When you look at the Pelicans this year, the bench has been hit or miss at times, but the reason they were able to go 5-0 in the preseason, 3-0 in these scrimmage games is because their bench is just deeper than a lot of other teams 11 through 15. Their 11 through 15 is just better. And sometimes you need to take advantage of that and play those starters less minutes. Drew talked about being a little bit fatigued, which is something we rarely hear Drew talk about. Brandon Ingram mentioned it as well because of, I guess, of how the minutes were ramping up. You probably would have liked to have starters more in the 30 to 32 range and then go from there and kind of get some of those guys on the bench. Obviously, J.J. Redick had a really nice game. He was in there late. Josh Hart, even though he played 22 minutes, you would like to see him probably play a little bit more. Etuan Moore was having a good thing. Alvin Gentry also just talked about this. He hates looking at the plus-minus stat. However, every Pelican starter was a minus and plus-minus. Everybody on the Pelicans bench was a positive and plus-minus. And I think if the Pelicans want to make it out of Orlando with a playoff spot, they're going to have to use their bench to their advantage, being able to go 11, 12 deep with guys that Alvin Gentry can trust.
Andrew, we were curious about how some of the teams that had playoff spots clinched would approach the minutes allocation. The early indications are they're going to approach this like they're still jockeying for a position, not just the Jazz and the Pelicans last night, but watching the Clippers and the Lakers, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, all these starts for these teams that really don't have a ton to play for, and they're looking at this like real regular season games when they were coming down the stretch for real.
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised. I did not expect LeBron to play 34 minutes. I did not expect Anthony Davis to play 35 minutes. So these teams are going to probably be in those ranges. I doubt they'll try to take a lot of chances with their guys. You know, you might even see a rest day for some of these guys coming through. You know, maybe LeBron doesn't play all 8. Maybe AD doesn't play all 8. Some of those teams are there, but if that's how these teams are going to play it, you have to be concerned if you're a Pels fan because of how the Clippers are now going to look at Saturday's game. Are they going to play their guys there? You know, they're going to be probably still missing. Obviously, they're going to be missing Lou Will. I think they're still going to be missing Montrezl Harrell as well. So how are they going to play that? You know, at what point does Kawhi get his load management game that is surely going to come in all of this? So I think they'll be smart and kind of time it to where, you know, those guys will also peak when we're getting closer to the playoffs.
Did cross my mind that just because it was Lakers-Clippers, they might have wanted to make a statement in the first game, and it might not be that way when they play somebody else. Andrew, we appreciate it. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
And we'll take a break here, hanging with Hester and Hanny. Ask Us when we come back. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're also brought to you by Hungry Howie's, home of the original flavored crust. We tell you all the time, so many different flavor crusts to choose from. Butter, butter cheese, Asiago cheese, ranch, onion, Cajun, sesame, garlic herb. They have all those options available for you. Go to hungryhowies.com. Right there in the top right corner of the website, it's going to pull up the menu. You got pizzas, yes, of course, but also oven-baked subs. You've got Howie bread. You've got fresh salads. You've got Howie wings. You've got Howie rolls. You've got, of course, the Howie cookie, which we always enjoy if Hunt Palmer leaves enough for us. All those different options for you over at Hungry Howie. So it is more than just pizza, but of course they've got incredible pizza and incredible pizza deals as well. We tell you all the time, there are so many deals over at Hungry Howie's. Just go to the website, you click on deals. It's going to pull up something for you. If it's you and the family, whatever lifestyle deal you need, they're going to have it ready for you over at Hungry Howie's. So make sure you go to hungryhowies.com.
Live NBA play-by-play continues tonight with the Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 8. And tune in Sunday afternoon as the Portland Trail Blazers take on the Boston Celtics. Our coverage begins with pregame at 2 p.m.
The NBA is on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank & Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Recapping the Pels restart. More reaction to the SEC conference-only schedule, and Terrio joins us. 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Go and check out the interviews with Herb Vincent with Verge Ausberry about LSU and SEC scheduling. Our YouTube page at Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Those are now posted. You can subscribe there for all of the highlights of the daily shows. All right, ask us. Let's go into the Bayou Ford huddle. Go-to meal if they gave you something to cook.
Who, if I was the one cooking?
I think that's... Yeah, I think that's the idea here.
Oh, boy. Let's see. The wife does the cooking, but, yeah. I mean, steaks is
that's pretty much the easiest thing.
Right?
Yeah, steak or a burger. You can just throw something on the grill.
Now, people can mess a burger up, Hanny.
You can mess a steak up, too.
Yeah, for sure. But I like mine still mooing, so you just throw it on there. Just like let it graze just a little bit.
Some kind of meat. We're just throwing some kind of meat.
But a burger, man, burger can be dry and burnt.
Well, that's what we're doing, probably. Ask us, can you set aside a weekly segment for listeners to send in original sports poems? They can send them in. We're probably not going to read them.
I mean,
but
if you get a sponsor, we can read them for sure.
Ask us, National Talk in an Elevator Day. I'm not making this up. I'll take your word for it. If you ran into your sports idol when you stepped into an elevator, what would you say? First of all, who's your sports idol if you could run into anybody and have a conversation?
Mine for a long time was Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
And then we became friends, which was just really funny, and I'm still shocked that it happened. But otherwise, I grew up loving Dan Marino.
Yeah.
And Dan Marino is a fantastic storyteller, so I'd love to hear stories from Dan Marino.
I'd like to pick out one of 50 questions. If I could meet anybody, I want to talk to Roger Staubach. I mean, that would be one for me.
Oh, big Cowboys fan, huh?
No, I was a big Roger Staubach fan. I just the guy's phenomenal.
I've saw I played to our crowd up in Shreveport.
I've done my Staubach spiel before, but he's only probably the most successful human being that's ever
played for the Service Academy. I mean, come on, yeah.
Yeah, he won the Heisman. He's in the Hall of Fame. He made almost $1 billion in private business. I mean, the guy's pretty good. Ask us, do we get a refund for the 30 minutes of flustering we were cheated out of? That's Flynn.
That's on
Stats
Matthew.
and Pats.
Stats and Pats, baby.
Yeah. Ask us, what sports games should I watch this weekend? I'm going to watch the Pels other game for sure. And after that, kind of perusing. Just, there's going to be a lot of basketball and baseball on. A lot of basketball, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be locked into every pitch of every Braves game during this whole deal.
Ask us, does Paul's mood change when 3 o'clock hits?
You'd have to he sits a little bit lower down in his chair.
Ask us, I'm hearing the added games for LSU and Auburn will be both Florida, Tennessee, and Georgia. Alabama gets Vanderbilt and Missouri. That's not true. Alabama does get Vanderbilt and Missouri. the LSU gets the Chiefs and Ravens, and I think Auburn gets the Steelers and the
I think
and the
we
Vikings.
also get the 72 Dolphins and the 85 Bears.
Yes, exactly. Ask Hanny, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about doing color for LSU baseball? My favorite thing was being around the team and getting to know the players and coaches and having really the best seat right in the center for all of those regional games and College World Series games. I mean, being right in the center of things was just tremendously enjoyable for me. The least favorite thing is pretty easy. It's rain delays. Sitting at the park for hours on end watching it rain ain't any fun. And a very close second is Sunday night flights. If you've ever had a flight on a Sunday night trying to get back to Baton Rouge and something goes wrong, you're sleeping somewhere that you didn't plan on sleeping.
I know for me, covering the team the last couple of years, that is the best part about it, especially last year, the 2019 football season, traveling with the team and being around those guys. That was a special group of not only players but coaches as well, and just interacting with those guys and creating those relationships that were going to last a lifetime.
Ask us, what would you think about an elaborate SEC schedule rollout show hosted by Cole Kublik and Laura Rutledge? Think NCAA baseball selection show format.
Actually, Laura's going to come on the show next week. We've already got that in the books, and so we'll ask her that question when she comes on.
A football schedule rollout show is not the worst idea I've ever heard. The Lord knows it gets a ton of ratings.
I'd watch.
Ask us, should we be worried that a 19-year-old Zion is always winded? He's 20 now, but yeah, frankly, I am worried a little
Andrew's
bit about.
pretty candid about his defense last night,
and he's not wrong about the defensive part. But I'm sorry, they got one set to run. They need a bucket to get this thing to overtime, and he's on the bench, and Derek Favors is on the floor because he's hit that 15 minute wall. No, that concerns me.
I mean, Jen Hale had that, didn't she? I mean, she was spot on with the minutes.
She was right on the deal for sure. Is Talk Sports Guy more aggressive than Talk About What I Want Guy? I think we've addressed this. We're gonna do. I feel like I got a decent pulse for the fans. We talk about play the hits around here, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the things that we think are of interest to the most people. Every topic's not for everybody, and we're not tailor-making shows for any one person.
No, but today's a perfect example of playing the hits. We talked 2.5 hours of LSU and SEC scheduling in 15 minutes of Pelicans, even though they were the first NBA game back, because the SEC news is going to dominate in Baton Rouge.
If the SEC would have punted on a decision until next week, we would have probably led with the Pelicans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today. All right. Thanks to everybody for participating today. Have a great weekend. For Paul O'Neill, for Cade Wazan, for Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for AFR here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The only thing that matters from my loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up. Failure happens to us all, but this is how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from my loss is
Hangin with Hester and Hanny.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1990.